Hey, Curvies. Hey, how's it going? My hair is down for as long as it's going to be down until Mama triggers a heat flash. You guys, make sure you come on in and on your way in, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and ring my bell. Ring my bell so you can get notified when I upload videos and so you can become part of the beautiful, curvy community that we're growing over here on the YouTube streets. You know what I don't have is water. I'm going to need some water for what's going on. I'm going to need some water. Okay, let's get to the water. I need some water. You guys come on in. You know how when you used to dance on the dance floor and you were doing that little move, you like pulling your partner to you? Come on in, y'all. Mama used to cut a rug. Okay, I make a lot of dance analogies. Um, I was writing down my mantra and stuff like that. So, yes, and hi, Milo. He just curls right up under my feet. He's so cute. Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. Okay, look, he hears me talking in his voice. Do you guys have a voice for your dogs too? Anyway, can you even hear me? Let's see. Can you even hear me? Yeah, I can hear me. What's good? Bianca's in the house. Thank you for being here. I know it's Tuesday morning, but sometimes people can come out and play. And I wanted to just get this out of the way, and hopefully people will catch it in the replay crew. Although the videos where I talk about finance, where I talk about romance, where I talk about just like health and stuff like that, nobody's looking. But when I get into the mess and all of that stuff, everybody always says it, mess is where it's at. So I also have to admit that, I'm doing this more for me, I guess, than you guys. But I appreciate you Curvies who do pop through and want to talk about things like politics and health and finance and real estate and creating generational legacy and, self sustainability and, basically getting off the plantation. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I'm glad that you're here with me. And let's see. So we were going to talk about today, we're talking about who is running for president? Who's running for president? Who's running for president? Who's running for president? Because, like I said, on my little thing that I just did on Instagram, I was on a panel this weekend and we were having a very impassioned discussion about politicking. Okay. And, you know, I do what I do, and people do what they do, and it's okay. However, somebody asked me a very particular question, and I like to know what I'm talking about. Is it 2 minutes in yet? Oh, I hope we're 2 minutes in because I just mouthed the F word. So, because they were like, well, who else is running? Who else is running? And I knew of two other people for sure that are running. No, four other people besides the main two. But there's even another person, you guys. There's a dude named Chad. Did you guys know about Chad? So we have Chad, we have Marianne, we have Cornell, we have Jill, we have Robert, we have Don, and we have Kamala. So there's actually 7. How many stocks do I really have in stock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So let me get to this where I had saw this article. Oh, here we go. Right here. We're going to do this. And then I have a bevy of media that I've been capturing so that we can talk about what these people are talking about. And because I'm in the YouTube stream, I can't drop a link. So chat it up, okay? And I'll be getting to the comments. Right on? So let's see. Let's see. I like my new little corner that I've been doing stuff through. Because, I have the Zen Den upstairs. And that was initially like that space. And I don't know, it just, I would get hot in there and I wasn't vibing. Right here, I'm like right next to a window and I'm street level. So I could see like on 227. I'm like, But when I raise my blinds, it's very obvious. Mm-hmm. I'm very, yeah. Okay. Anyway, and stuff be going on over here, y'all. I live in a nice little suburb, but sometimes it can get interesting. Okay, so these comments, Bianca Edwards says, Happy Tuesday, Curvies. Thanks for tuning in to LRGA Curves. I hope y'all are ready for our good show. Yes, make sure to smash things. Smash. Hulk smash. Hulk smash. My son used to love Hulk. Hulk smash. You wanted Hulk. He will Hulk gloves every chance he could get. Smash. Yes, yes. Zara, thanks for coming through. You guys, you know what? Zara has a channel in these YouTube streets, and she's been going live lately. Can somebody drop her link, please? We love Zara. I hope you're feeling well, BT Dubs. Oh, you'll be in your bath, so no typing. Right on. Yeah, we don't want any other, you know what's. So yes, no electricities in the waterings. Okay. Mamere, welcome our newest mod to the house, Mamere. And Bianca, what I was saying on Heavenly's Live yesterday was from inside YouTube Studio. I can easily click on a name, and right here, it gives me like 3 buttons. And the 3 buttons give me control. And one of them is make a moderator. You know what I mean? So I was able to easily do it. But when I'm in StreamYard, I can't do stuff like that. So Heavenly was in StreamYard yesterday. So I need to get her the instructions on how to get me my wrench. Because I saw somebody with a wrench. I was like, where'd that happen at? So I don't know. Maybe that happened when, the other person didn't like Oliver used to be her producer and stuff. So maybe that person, I hadn't seen him in a while. I don't know how long they had a wrench. But anyway, yeah. So we're going to work on getting that wrench over there. Thanks for being here, Romare, and thanks for becoming a mod. Yes. Aren't you enjoying her little chats? I love it. That is what Canadians call a bath, a scrubby. I like it. What was that song? Darn. Uh-oh. Split splash, I was taking a bath all along a Saturday night. Rubber dub dub in the tub, thinking everything was all right. And then split splash, I was taking a bath all along a Saturday night. There was a song like that when I was a little girl. Oh my gosh. What was that song? I'm gonna have to look it up when we get off of here. I'll know the words for you next time I pop it out. Because sometimes you gotta pop out and show people. Okay. 227. Didn't we love that show? The food poisoning episode was the hilariousest thing we ever saw, you guys. Oh my gosh. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Yeah. See, that gets mixed up. All my Sean and Oz get kind of mixed up at this point because I haven't had to pull an oldie but goodie out. But who jams to oldie but goodies often on their Instagrams is, of course, Snoop Dogg. He be having oldie sessions. Ooh, yeah. I said the same thing when I saw someone use their wrench. Right, Bianca? I was like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. Like, why does she have my wrench? Squeeze me. Why does she have my wrench? I've been like subbing my little fingers off and like freaking like, smash, smash, smash. She's not even saying it. She was like asking questions. I was like, where's my wrench? So we'll get it together. I love Dr. Heavenly's Angels and a boopy for life. All right. Right. Yeah. So I love the Shana Na songs. Jeremiah was a bullfrog, the Temptations, the spinners, the, you know, those kind of songs. That's like literally a two-step. 1, 2, 1, 2. There we go. I'm so woo, 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 woo. Okay, I had 1 cup of coffee. I still need some water. Okay, so let's. I was going to share some things while we talk about who is running for what. Oh, my battery's running low. How is that happening? Something's not plugged all the way. Oh yeah, you know what? It's in the one that's the light socket. So I have to go turn on the light socket. Right back, I'll be. You know how some light switches are. Did that one work? Yeah, it looks like Milo. Ooh. Milo, just relax. He's not worried about you. Milo, can you? Huh? And now you started him up. Why are everybody barking now? Okay. Okay. Milo, can I have my seat back? Thank you, babe. Thanks. Milo's my co-host, you guys. Milo's the co-host. He is the co-host. So, okay, you're there. Had to flip the light switch, grab some water in a BPA plastic bottle. I have invested in some glass bottles. And even transferring it at the last minute is like better than just continuing the cycle. I do have some, I love water out of glass, but they don't. Okay, just a second. Let's do this. There. Woo. Yeah. Okie dokie. Okay. Thank you. Ooh, and that could have fell on the computer. Okay. Me. We're back. We're back. Milo is keeping, yes, he's such a good boy. He's such a good boy. Okay. So we're going to talk about the 7 candidates because there are 7. And I wanted us to hear a couple of POVs on it. I don't subscribe to all of the things we're going to hear, but they're all different POVs. Okay. And it would be in downloads because there's actually, here we go. It's right here. Phaedra's back, you guys. What about it? What about it? Wow. Wow. Let's close this. I got the music in me. I got the music in me. 7. I thought there was only 2. Exactly. These are all the candidates on ballots, you guys. These people are on ballots running for president. of the United States. Now, why we don't hear about them, we're going to talk about. So we have, let's start over here. There's Trump. He got the Republican nomination. There's Chad. Let me get Chad's stuff up. And we will look together. Okay. His name is not Chad. I'm sorry. His name is Chase. We have Chase. He's a Libertarian Party, born in Nashville, Tennessee. His name is Chase Oliver. Yep, 7. Chase Oliver. Then we have Cornel West. We know about him. He is Independent Party, born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's 71. Chase is 38. Don is 78. 78, you guys. He's old enough to be greeting us at Walmart. He's the Republican Party, born in Queens, New York. Then we have my Marianne Williamson. She's 71, I believe, or 2. Where'd she go? Let me make this big. And then we have Marianne Williamson. I forget how old she is. We'll find out. And then we have Jill Stein. Jill Stein is the Green Party. She's 74, coming from Chicago, Illinois. Then we have Kamala. Is that Kamala next on the picture? Yeah, we all know about Kamala. Kamala's 59. And then we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's 70. He's running as an independent. Cornel West is running as an independent. Jill is running as a Green Party. Chase is running as the Libertarian Party. Marianne is the Democratic Party. Kamala is the Democratic Party. Donald Trump is the Republican Party. So, yeah. Okay. Did you guys know those people were on there? Yeah. Scrub that 3 good candidates in yeah. Williamson, Stein, and West. I think those would be excellent contenders for the newest chapter of America. I believe they would be. I believe they would be. We are at an opportune time. Did you know that countries, democracies are decided practically every 250-ish years, right in stride with Pluto's return? It does like this 250-year thing. And Pluto just got back, y'all. And yes. But I really wonder, and well, it's obvious. Marianne always talks about the corporate agenda and how these lobbyists and these corporations and these PACs are literally deciding who's going to be where for their benefit. And democracy is out the window. Oh, the window's over here. Out the window. Let's see. Just a quick dip to cool down. Yeah, already showered today. How hot is it out there? That's important. It's not a 2-horse race. Yeah, but they want to drill that into us. Where's my Makita? They want to drill it into us and try to make us believe there's only 2 things we can choose from, and they're evil or worse evil. When there's reasonable, loving, and compassionate and intelligent, and there's like not just two evils to be chosen from. That's all my point was on the panel. Shout out to Naughty Love for hosting that awesome panel this weekend. And someone asked me, well, who else is running? And I knew for sure about Cornell, about Marianne, about Jill, and about Robert Kennedy. I didn't know that there was even this Chase dude um, running. I didn't even know about him. And I live here. I'm right here. There hasn't been a peep about him. Okay. I don't know. I just don't like getting talked out of my panties. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. Try to talk me out of my panties by pretending there's only two things that we can do here. Really? 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 That's what we're doing? That's what we're allowing? I was said in a chat the other day that that's why we're at 450 years. Because we just keep allowing two things. Oh, well, nothing to see here, folks. We got to do it. It's either that one or else we don't know what's going to happen. It'll be our fault. It's not our fault. We, the people, get to decide on who gets to be where to represent our best interests. They don't get to decide and then tell us it's our fault that we decided. I watch a lot of housewife shows, and this is a great example of gaslighting. A great example. So you force two choices on me, and then when I choose one, you blame me for choosing them. Ooh wee, and I didn't even watch New Jersey this season because of the gas in the room. Okay. I'm surprised Jersey's even still on the map. Everybody should be passed out from the gas that was coming off of Real Housewives of New Jersey this season. I'm just not with it. Okay. Let's see what these comments are. Um, how can you have two Democrats running for office? Yep, you can. Doesn't each party pick one representative? Okay. That is a fan freaking tastic point, Mamere. Exactly. The reason is because it's not until the Democratic convention where the final choice is decided. So until that point, we were supposed to get to decide who we wanted to be even up for nomination at the Democratic convention so that one could finally accept the nomination and be on that ticket to run. Conversely, I believe, can't she even still be on the ticket? Yeah, she could even still be on the ticket. And I don't even think it's splitting a vote at that point because she's a Democrat too. So if you vote for Marianne and she doesn't win, that vote doesn't go over there. Plus, there's three over theirs. How would that vote automatically just go towards Trump? Why wouldn't it go towards the libertarian guy? Why wouldn't it go towards the independent? Why wouldn't it go towards the Green Party? Why would that split a vote and cause only orange people to win? Is something wrong with me asking these questions? Because I really want to understand. When I was a child, they used to pump democracy up. This is an air pump for a tire from back in the day when you used to have to blow it up yourself. They used to pump up democracy and be like, you got to go vote. It matters. You got to learn how what the people's agendas are. Who are the candidates? What are they talking about? Are there chickens in pots? Are there 40 acres in a mule? What are they talking about for your people? Lower taxes, higher wages. They would pump it up. And then we would get to go decide about how things wanted to materialize in our pumped up wheel. But now, for some reason, for some strange reason, the more advanced we get, the more regressing happens. So there can be two. If there's two in the independent, then there can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many stocks do we have in stock? There's a billion people. Well, no, not a billion. There's 334 million people-ish in America, Kaka. And we have these 7 representatives for all those POVs, but you're forcing 2 cheeks of the same ass on me. I told you we got diaper rash. This is going septic at this point. Is that sepsis? You know, sepsis? We can get sepsis at this point from the amount of diaper rash infection with these 2 cheeks. Nothing's changing. We're regressing. They're stripping away rights. So Kamala Harris is on the ticket. They can't do nothing about it. Orange was counting on going against the sleeper. And now he's stuttering in his boots because he's going to have to talk to somebody that can finish a sentence. So the people in the states that he asked to do the stuff and look behind and look away last time from Georgia specifically. That guy in Georgia today, announced that you can easily remove, if you don't feel like voting, if you want to sit this out, if it's too stressful for you and you just don't want to participate. Now they have created a website that has 0 checks and balances where if you want to unsubscribe from voting, all you need is a first initial and a last name and a zip code. And just press enter and we'll go ahead and take you off the voter registration thing. Anybody can do it. Did you hear about that? That's what we get with the 2 choices that we've been given so far. You know, that's what we get. So, hey, Bianca. Oh, no, Allie from Miami. Right on. Thanks for coming. We used to have liberals and Tories, and yep, our Labor Party got popular in the 20s. Now they're the main opposition. Liberals fight with the Greens, reform, etc. The third spot. Yep, things can change. They can. They can change if we are allowed the room to let them change. I think the landscaper is going to be across the street in a minute, but they're usually fast. The lawn is only so big and in the front yard. Yeah, why? Milo, it's okay. Is that the rent to Don High running for president? Yes. Yes, they're running. But what are they talking about? What are they talking about? So let's look at some medias that I have for us to be looking at. Let's look through. Okay, you guys, make sure you smash the buttons, ring the bell so you can get notified. Okay. And let's do that. Okay, so let's stop sharing this. I'll start sharing some this. Let's look right here first. Did it stop sharing yet? Okay, yeah, it stopped sharing. Now let's share this. Oh, yeah, to close this one down. I hope that helps a little. Ow. Okay, so we're going to look at here. Couture Bay. Couture. Thanks for coming through. You were on the panel this weekend when I was asked, well, who else is running? Because we do actually have more choices than we are being told. And so let's take a look. I'm on CNN.com, and they're letting us know as of July 22nd, some weeks ago, that these people were on the ticket. So Joe dropped out, and now we have Kamala. And we don't even have to change too much. I mean, Kamala as a vice president does not have a lot of power. I mean, vice presidents don't usually have to do a lot. It's kind of like they're there. You know what I mean? Some vice presidents we have heard, and some first ladies we have even heard of doing lots of stuff while they have the time to do it. They did make Kamala Harris in charge of immigration, and then we had record number of immigrants cross the border because she believes that immigration isn't a crime, and it's not, and it needs checks and balances, and it needs to also prioritize always home first, so that when Americans feel taken care of, we don't feel like, oh my God, that's where my tax dollar went. You know what I mean? That's more what it is. It's not racism. Yeah, I don't feel like, and I can lead all roads back to racism. But I don't feel like that particular argument is racism as much as it's like, hey, look, we're paying into a system that's supposed to be helping our families. And yeah, other families, come on, do what it says on the Statue of Liberty. Give them all here, bring it over. Let's rock. There's enough to go around. Let's get some. And who are you? What's your name? Where are you coming from? Why are you here? What's going on? What are you going to add to society? Because all the money that's here right now, we're going to still be focusing on Americans and their needs with first priority, like preference to Americans, you know? And I feel like that's super duper important. And then you won't have to get in rooms and be told that it's racist for you to be like, why are you giving money to them? You know what I mean? So I don't know. You follow what I'm saying? I hope you do. I hope I'm not offending. All right, on. Yes. Okay. So Kamala's the current vice president, former attorney. She's the highest ranking female official in U.S. history. Harris was previously AG for California from 2011 to 2017. Now, California is my home state. I'm from the Bay Area. This is specific to what was involved in my life in 2011 and 2017. I can speak from firsthand experiences and knowledges about certain things that they're saying about Kamala Harris that are definitely true. The people always want to pretend like I didn't live what I live, hear what I hear, and see what I saw without me attacking her. She spent a lot of time doing this. Look, I can't even get it out. She spent a lot of time doing attacking of her own. Okay? A lot of time. So, I mean, it is what it is and it is what it isn't. All I know is that why are they trying to force it is my biggest thing. And then why are they scrubbing what they scrubbed of it and then calling people like me who lived it? I mean, not that I was caught up in the system like that, but there was regular reporting on what she was doing in real time, regular exposés. But all that stuff just disappeared, and we're served numbers from a particular year that say 45. And isn't it interesting that she only allegedly had 45 convictions out of 1,500 cases, but she was the best, allegedly. And then she's running against 45. I don't know. But that's just for one particular time period. That wasn't over the span of her career. Also, my main thing with Kamala is she's never unsaid, undid, apologized, or acknowledged or made right, in my opinion, as a Black woman, her stance on not helping and not being willing to do anything for just people that look like me. That hurt. That hurt. What does Kenya say? That cut to the white meat. Oh, really? You wanted my vote, but you're not going to do anything for people that look like me specifically? You're not going to do one thing? And she said it like, and she has never unsaid it, in my opinion. If somebody knows something better than me, prove it. Drop it in the chat if you can. Hit me in the DM. Relearn me. Because she said that, and she's from an administration that benefited from people that look like me, people that look like her. And then her boss told us to wait. You're not Black if you don't vote for me. People fell for it, overlooked the 1994 Super Thug bill, got mad when Ice Cube wanted to talk about a contract with Black America, demanded our vote, our time, our energy, demanded it. And then after they demanded it, the Black leaders went over to the White House and was like, oh, okay, we're Black. We voted for you. What's up? What are we doing? And you know what Sleepy Joe told him? You're going to have to wait. And it's 4 years later and we still waiting, y'all. 4 years later and everything he said he was going to do just for us ain't got done. Well, he didn't really promise anything just for us, because him too, he didn't just outright say he's not going to do anything specifically for Black people, but the things and the policies that they enacted, of course, benefit everybody, including that specific anti-Asian hate crime bill and the specific anti-Semitism bills that keep dropping around. But where's the anti-Black bills after 400 years of slavery? After all the Jim Crowing that's still happening? But we're not Black unless we vote for him and her. But they haven't done nothing. Name something they've done for us. Name it. Drop it in the chat. I want to be proven wrong. I'll wait. Right answer. Nothing. Nothing has been added to the chat. Notice, nobody can name anything that these two have done for us. Well, actually, I should have said right answer, because it's nothing. I just don't understand why they play it in our face like this. And then saying it's for the soul of America. Well, that's what he said the first time we told him he could be a transitional president, and he was only supposed to be in there for the 4 years. And then he messed around and left his toe in the ring too long that we couldn't even hear about freaking, well, they don't have him on here, but we couldn't even hear about Marianne Williamson, who I love. We already talked about her. I showed you guys some Marianne Williamson the other day. Go in here. Oh, wait, no, I have to go in messages. Yeah. So here. There we go. So there's a lot going on. And Yandy Smith from Love and Hip Hop is quite the activist, and she's quite the community leader, you guys. And I've been peeping her game lately, and it's on point. She hosted a rally for Sonia Macy, say her name, and they ended up talking about a lot of different things that I feel lend itself to this specific reality that we're in. And it starts with this guy right here. Let me take this off mute. Let me know if you can hear this, okay? Hey, Palaver girl. Thanks for coming. Are you going to talk? Wait. Oh, sorry.
All of us are attacked. That's why I'm here today. Because we have to understand that we are stronger together. The governor, the state superintendent, the people in Georgia that are responsible.
I liked what he starts off by acknowledging that a bill was passed for his people in a little amount of time. Let's see if I can capture that. There we go.
Years to have this discussion, but it only took a couple weeks to pass legislation that protected my community. When one group is attacked, all of us are attacked. That's why I'm here today, because we have to understand that we are stronger together. The governor, the state superintendent, the people in Georgia that are responsible for this type of inaction, these people want us to see want us to be divided. Today, we are seeing right now that there is people from all communities, from all over the greater Atlanta metro area that understand that this is a problem.
That's right.
And we'll continue to see this as a problem until we have action. We talk about campaign promises that are made. We need to talk about campaign promises that are kept. The way we do this is through legislation, through calling out lawmakers and voting them out when they don't do their job.
Get out of here.
Change them out. So I want to end by saying this. You know, Black lives don't just matter on election day. Black lives just don't matter on the campaign trail. It is mattering every day because we are living these lives. Black Americans, they are living these lives, and we have to do better to stand with our brothers and sisters in this movement like they have stood with us. Our district attorney in Gwinnett County, she has been a champion of Asian Americans in her office and ensuring that hate crimes are covered. But we also have to make sure that when a police encounter goes wrong and the police officer is responsible, that he is held accountable for that action. The police officer that shot Sonia Massey, he had been shifted around from different departments at least 6 different times. Thank you for speaking on that. And so what we have to do is demand that the police union, the police chiefs, the brass at the police departments that are headquartered all across this nation, that they are responsible, that when they find an officer that has multiple repeated problems, we don't rehire them.
Right.
And so that would not fly in any other job. If you had 6 different infractions at any of your employers, it would be hard to find a job. But in America, if you do that, you're a police officer. And so we need to do better. And I'm proud to stand here today. I apologize. My name is Tyler Lee, and I am so proud to be representing the Asian community in this fight with that. Thank you.
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
No justice!
No peace!
Cause these things!
Our streets!
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 Very much.
I want y'all to look at that flag over there.
All right
You see the colors? I want y'all to repeat after me as a chant. If you don't know it, you're going to learn it. Red, black, and green. Say it with your chest.
Red, black, and green!
Tell the governor.
Red, black, and green!
Tell the city council.
Red, black, and green!
Tell your neighbor there.
Red, black, and green!
Tell it to the streets.
Red, black, and green!
Tell your cousin there.
Red, black, and green!
Tell the popo.
Red, black, and green!
Clap it up, clap it up, clap
We're done with struggle. We're done with struggle.
I'm 34 years old. My great-grandfather led a rebellion in Montego Bay, Jamaica in 1865. Fighting the same issues we are fighting in 2024. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
My name is Devin Barrington Ward. I'm an organizer with the Movement for Black Lives. And I've been in these streets a long time because there's so many names. It's too many names. It's too many names. Jamarian Robinson, Jimmy Atkinson, Deontay Phillips, Oscar Kane. So many names.
Hey, mademoiselle.
Atlanta. Are you not tired? Are you not tired? I'm tired of reading a ledger of death. Justice is not Sonia Massey's murderer being in prison. Justice is Sonia Massey's murderer never would have had a job in the first place. Justice is not pointing the George Floyd Policing Act. Justice is completely reimagining this system of policing and public safety in this country. We don't want reform. Reform ain't work. They kill us on the body cameras.
Power to the people.
Us in the police reports. The district attorneys don't charge them. Reform hasn't worked. What we need is abolition. And so we don't talk and teach abolition right. They all think that abolition is anarchy. No, it is not. Abolition is the dismantling of one thing and the building of something new. Are you ready to build something new? In the name of Jesus. And I understand if that's not your faith background, but just go with me for a moment. It's Sunday, so we're going to honor the women of God's life. Listen, in the book of Joshua, they talk about the crumbling of the walls of Jericho. But God gave the soldiers instructions that you are to circle the walls of Jericho for 7 days, walking around in a circle and saying nothing. So they did it on day 1. They did it on day 2. They did it on day 3. They did it on day 4. They did it on day 5. They did it on day 6. And on day 7, they let out a battle cry. And the walls of Jericho came tumbling down. Listen, I believe that we're in our 7th day. Many of us are mourning not just because we've seen another sister killed by the police, but we are mourning because we feel like maybe our movement isn't moving forward. Maybe we aren't making progress. Maybe we are just spinning our wheels. Maybe we're just a dog chasing its tail. But I'm here to tell you, if you are faithful and committed to the fight of justice for Black people and liberation in this lifetime, you cannot lose. You cannot lose. You cannot lose. You cannot lose. And so it's time to let out our battle cry. Oppression may come crumbling down. The oligarchs and the corporations come tumbling down because the people of Atlanta is what makes this city strong. We are working for them. What we want is when we get a mental health call for the Black women, the people who are not police show up. That's not that radical, y'all. That's not that radical. We are talking about abolition in practice. We have it right now. We're so close. 311, you call Pal. The police don't show up. A caseworker shows up. But guess what? We have work to do because they are not funded to be 24/7. They're only funded to operate Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Our people are not getting the services that they need. Meanwhile, this body, this institution, has funded the police department almost at $250 million. I don't want to hear shame. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Are you ready to fight?
So the reason I was showing that is because they talked about the George Floyd bill in there, right? Has anything really, that's what Kamala and Biden said they were going to get done for us at least, and nothing has happened. They also talk specifically about what the community is feeling.
That has sat and rubbed the belly, my room.
And so there was a clip going around about that I wanted to share. Let's see. Milo, relax. And speaking of Sonia Macy and how the cop shouldn't have even been employed because this was his sixth transfer in like 4 years or something like that. Well, there was a chilling recording released by CBS yesterday.
"7 months on, how are you still employed by us?"
I don't know.
"Sean, do you understand what I am saying?"
Yes, I do, sir.
"And I've had this conversation with you before. If we can't trust what you say and what you see, we can't have you in our uniform. I'm calling you on your integrity. How does that make you feel?"
I'm learning from it.
"Are you angry with me for it?"
I don't.
"Do you understand it?"
Yes. I don't get angry with this because, one, I have no experience. Before I came here, I had no experience. Two, I wasn't allowed to do this right here. I was not allowed to review my videos.
This is termination. I'm getting goosebumps. This is extremely concerning. Everybody likes you. I gotta be able to trust you. Was this a purposefully done lie?
No. I full-heartedly, I still believed I was on North Madison until you just pulled up Google Maps and showed me in the daytime.
This is gonna get deeper because you're gonna have a hard time answering some questions here real quick.
Okay.
7 months on,
You guys,
how are you still employed by us?
he was already defective. Oh, did that even play? Can you guys hear me? You guys couldn't hear that?
I don't know.
Sean, do you understand what I am saying?
Yes, I do, sir.
And I've had this conversation with you before. If we can't trust what you say and what you see,
Hello?
we can't have you in our uniform. I'm calling you on your integrity. How does that make you feel?
I'm learning from it.
Are you angry with me for it?
I don't
understand it.
Yes. I don't get angry with this because, one, before I came here, I had no experience. Two, I wasn't allowed to do this right here. I was not allowed to review my videos.
This is termination.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I don't know what just happened. It didn't want you to hear what that man had said. See, can we hear me now? I don't know. Yeah, he thought she had mental problems too. Is something wrong with just my volume on here? Sorry, you guys. Can you guys hear me okay? I don't know. I hope so. Okay, there's something. Because I couldn't hear it. That's weird. Can you hear me now? Okay. Can you hear me? But could you hear this?
I'm getting goosebumps. This is extremely concerning. Everybody likes you. I got to be able to trust you. Was this a purposefully done lie?
No, I full-heartedly, I still believed I was on North Madison until you just pulled up Google Maps and showed me in the daytime.
This is going to get deeper because you're going to have a hard time answering some questions here real quick.
Okay.
7 months on, how are you still employed by us?
I don't know.
Sean?
That should be a lawsuit right there for her family. 7 months. So this was an interview from, I believe, 20 months before he unalived Sonia the other day. And at that 20 months ago, 7 months into it, 20 months ago, 7 months prior to 20 months ago. That's how long, 27 months ago. Because he was like 7 months ago. But this is 20 months before. This conversation happened 20 months before that. But he's like, how you been here for 7 months? Before 20 months ago, you guys. This is chilling.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do, sir.
And I've had this conversation with you before. If we can't trust what you say and what you see, we can't have you in our uniform. I'm calling you on your integrity. How does that make you feel?
I'm learning from it.
Are you angry with me for it?
I don't.
Do you understand it?
Yes. I don't get angry with this because, one, I have no experience. Before I came here, I had no experience. Two, I wasn't allowed to do this right here. I was not allowed to review my videos.
This is termination. I'm getting goosebumps. This is extremely concerning. Everybody likes you. I got to be able to trust you. Was this a purposefully done lie?
No, I full-heartedly, I still believed I was on North Madison until you just pulled up Google Maps and showed me in the daytime.
This is going to get deeper because you're going to have a hard time answering some questions here real quick.
Okay.
7 months on.
So, yeah. Had the George Floyd bill been passed, I mean, it's probably all whatever anyway. I mean, they still let the people do what they do. And then we have the one who's currently running for president.
What did I do?
To rebuild our cities, we're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime.
So you would see him something?
Wow. He just fucked him. Just listen to these niggas. Cause now you got you threw the shit out the ass.
I'm finna sue
I got that shit. Listen to him. Here, go to the car.
Call your
Throw the shit out their ass. Now. Listen to everything they say now. He don't gotta sock him down. He don't gotta sock him down. Watch this. Watch this. No. Y'all niggas weird. Yeah, he just fucked him in the face. Wrong guy.
So what I'll do?
You ain't hear shit. We
I hear. Thanks, Palaver.
What did I do?
Rebuild our cities. We're going to bring them back like they used to be. We're going to make them safe places again. We're going to give our police their power back, and we're going to give them immunity from prosecution. So they're not prosecuted for doing their job. We'll take over the horribly run capital of our country, Washington, D.C., and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital city so that it's no longer a nightmare of murder and crime. To rebuild our cities, we're going to bring them back like they used.
We have these two who didn't do anything specifically about police reform. And actually, he's the one, his bill is the reason, part of the reason they do what they do anyway. That 1994 crime bill, when it made us super predators and they needed to be able to handle us with more force. Yeah, he did that. But we weren't black unless we voted for him specifically. Interesting. And then she did a lot of prosecuting of cases. Let's see. And these are the two people we know about. That's why I'm focusing on these two. I have some more stuff also. Where'd it go? Here he is. Okay. So this right here
is right here. They give us an arrow at where it was when she left. But look at where it was while she was in office. What's that? 2005? She got off 2004. So the 2005 point, this is what Marijuana Convention Center, this is his stat. This is the source, District Attorney's Office of San Francisco. She took office in 2004. Where my arrow is where marijuana conviction charges were when she took office. It spiked while she was in office, and it went close to all-time highs. It went above the high for 1994. This here is where weed was when we was decriminalized, 94, 95. This is when it was still totally illegal. This is what was under Kamala Harris, this part right here. So it actually spiked during her tenure, and it dropped off. Guess when? 2010. Oh, what was 2010? That was when it was time for her to run for the Senate. For state attorney general. 2010 was when she put her bid in to be the California state attorney general. So the numbers went down the year she decided to go for a state office. But I'm using the stat. I'm not even going, I can go find the stat. I'm using the stat all of these niggas who think they're the smartest person in the room is using. I'm using their stat. Chat room. Chat room? Chat room. Hey, let me blow this up. I forgot I could blow this up. Let me blow this up. Let me blow this up. This is the smartest guy in the room that everybody is sharing. Questlove, and everybody is sharing. Everybody is sharing this smart guy's comments. Okay, look. And this is how they lie to you with statistics. You can be lied to with statistics. That's why I don't do stats. Like I will bring stats to beef up a point of view, but I'll never use stats to prove my point of view. Because if I gotta use anybody that's using stats as a blanket statement, they're bullshitting you. Kamala's time was 2004 to 2010. 2004, California is at a low, the lowest it's been since 1983. It looks like this is where the low was when Kamala took office. This spike is Kamala's tenure. And it only went down when she was leaving the position to go run for the state attorney general. In 2010.
So you
right
guys,
here, her tenure is right here. They give us an arrow at where it was when she left.
and that's what part of my problem is that people are like, they're trying to tell us as Californians what we know for facts. Trying to act like what was said when she lost the election last time doesn't have a point. Okay, what's this one? And this is just for a different POV. Okay.
But it's other things that, you know, when it comes to the political parties, they can be, okay, the left is going to push for LGBTQ, immigration, and that kind of shit. The right is going to put cutting corporate taxes. They're going to push for Heritage Foundation bullshit. But the left is going to push for Act Blue Foundation bullshit. Act Blue don't have nothing positive for me. And neither does the Heritage Foundation. And so the way I'm looking at it is, this is the way I'm looking at it. Then I'm going to get into these to these political pundits. But this is the way I'm looking at it. And I'm going to get into more news after this. The thing that's been keeping this thing working and this plane even this whole time has been black people. Black people going back to since we've been able to vote, going back to the election of 1868, the election of 1870, we put in over 100 black people in office in the 1870 election. 1872, 74, 76, we did a lot. We as a people, since that 12-year run we had during Reconstruction was busted up, white people are evenly split on how they're going to get fucked over by the government. The Republican side, the Democrat side. There's no more Moose and Bull party. There's no more Whig party. There's no more populist party. Just the Republicans and the Democrats and the independents whenever they feel like they're not a real party, the independent. They caucus. So the only real party is the Republicans and Democrats. These motherfuckers can't get along. They disagree over a lot of things. The only thing they do,
Hi, Emmanuel.
the only thing Republicans and Democrats agree on is fucking black people over. They disagree on how to fuck over black people because the Democrat believes in bringing us closer and making sure they can watch every single thing we do and give us nothing but a few scraps and keep us in close eye shot. And the Republican side is to give us nothing and to push us over there and keep them away from us. The only thing they agree on is giving us nothing. But it's other things that, you know, when it comes to the political parties, they can be, okay,
So,
the left.
I think it's just something about having the gay area in our blood that we speak up about these things. I mean, this is the home of the Black Panthers. Okay? Power to the people. And so, Emmanuel, I appreciate you acknowledging that, hey, I'm not scared to talk about this. And I, in fact, think it needs to be talked about more. We need to have very robust conversations about all this stuff instead of allowing ourselves to be force-fed what they're trying to sell. I know you guys don't feel great about choosing between two evils. I know it. I know you don't feel like picking between two devils. I know you would never tolerate that in your everyday life. I know it. I know that in your everyday life, you're not looking for dirt on other housewives instead of enjoying your best life so that you can bring it back to the group for a storyline so that you don't have to talk about the life that's not so great that you're not having. I know it. And I feel like this politics is doing some reality TV gaslighting on us and acting like we're the problem for being educated, free thinkers that want to reason and ask questions and do our due diligence instead of believe two cheeks of the same ass that's been shitting on us for all this time. It's okay for Black people to vote in their best interest. It doesn't have to do with color. It doesn't have to do with nothing except for what's in our best interest. If you're saying 50 acres and a mule and some stallions and a chicken in a pot and free college for all my kids, and we don't have to pay taxes, and trying to come up with something for my people specifically for being foundational Americans that the industry was built off of our backs and blood. So many industries, not just cotton. There was sugar, there was freaking rice, tobacco, you name it, we did it. So many inventions that our uneducated, not learning how to read asses came up with that are still being used in 2020 motherfucking 4 that were created by slaves that couldn't read. But we get nothing but told you're not Black if you vote against your interests, and you're not Black if you vote against your interests. Both sides are saying the same thing, because on one hand, 45 is saying, oh, you love me because I'm a criminal, like all Black people resonate with crime. Oh, you love me because I had got caught up in court, acknowledging that when he caught those Central Park 5 people up in court, that there was room for them to be caught up, because now he's claiming to be what those Black boys actually were. And then I was on somebody else's panel arguing with them about that. They were like, well, if you're going to bring up the Central Park 5, you need to bring up the 94 crime bill. I'm like, they can all get some. Okay? They can all get some. And that's my point. Neither one is in my interest, or in the interest of my Black sons, or in the interest of the Black bodies that I care and love for. None of this is in our interests. Their refusal to acknowledge our needs, their refusal to allow us any room for peace or prosperity on either side. One side's calling us super predators, and the other one just said that Washington, D.C. is full of criminals and murderers. And everybody knows that's the fucking chocolate city, and that's why they're not making it a state. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. But you resonate with crime, so you're going to go vote for him. You see how stupid they think you are? And you're just supposed to like sop this up with fucking biscuits? I think not. I'm anti-carbs right now. How about that? Unless your biscuits are made out of cauliflower, I don't want none, sir. You sop that shit up yourself. I'm going to look elsewhere for my biscuits and my gravy, to which I'll be sopping. I'm not buying this shit anymore. We keep doing the same thing. We're going to keep getting what we get. Q Rizza Islam. Yeah. Power to the people. Q Rizza. Thank you, Palaver. Oh, no. Is it breaking down? I don't know. Is it my, I'm talking truth, so they might be messing with my connection. Who knows what's happening? Who knows what's happening? Let me see. Is it chop, chop? Chop, chop, chop. Can you hear me okay? But can you hear this?
Don't have power to exercise and organize your own people, stop talking. Yeah. If you only want to say vote, 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 you are an embarrassment. It doesn't matter how many PhDs, how many master's degrees you have, you are going to be laughed at by those who are in control. They laugh at every single person who just yells, vote, vote, vote. And if you don't vote for this person, that's a vote for them. It's a game. Yeah. You don't look at the electoral colleges. You don't look at the finishing schools where they groom presidential candidates. You don't look at who funds them. That's right. You don't look at the fact that they're selected before they're elected. Yeah. You don't know the process.
Thanks for coming, Joe.
Because you're still
Hi,
saying
Sebastian.
the word vote. People who have power don't say vote at all.
Okay, let it replay. I was queuing it up, talking.
I'm just not interested, brother. Like I'm more so disgusted because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I'm not interested in it anymore. It is embarrassing. It is irritating for me to hear the same thing every 4 years. The number 4 represents foundation. We don't focus on our 4, but we continue to focus on theirs. Build your own, because power only respects power. They don't respect the vote. They don't respect a cry. They don't respect us begging. They respect power. If you don't have no money behind an agenda, stop talking. If you don't have power to exercise and organize your own people, stop talking. If you only want to say vote, 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 you are an embarrassment. It doesn't matter how many PhDs, how many master's degrees you have, you are going to be laughed at by those who are in control. They laugh at every single person who just yells vote, vote, vote. And if you don't vote for this person, that's a vote for them. It's a game. You don't look at the electoral colleges. You don't look at the finishing schools where they groom presidential candidates. You don't look at who funds them. That's right. You don't look at the fact that they're selected before they're elected. You don't.
Selected before they're elected, just like Kamala was selected for the Democrats to go against Trump. She was selected, not whatever else he said. Okay. So now, speaking of the Heritage Foundation, let's play this scary movie.
The story of Project 2025, Part 1. A very brief history of the Heritage Foundation. To understand Project 2025, you have to understand the Heritage Foundation, created during the Nixon administration by Joseph Corbs, a far-right extremist whose paranoia once made him force his employees to take lie detector tests. We'll have more on Corbs in a later video, but suffice it to say, he's a real piece of work. Branding itself a think tank, the Heritage Foundation took its considerable money and influence to Washington, D.C. to champion explicitly racist, anti-science, anti-worker, anti-woman philosophies. They provided funds and legal support to a preacher who bombed schools he deemed too multicultural. They lobbied for decades to keep gay marriage illegal and provided money to the ADF, a designated hate group, and they blamed the families for the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Their actions and agenda are so clearly evil, it's hard to make a caricature of them. The current president of the extremist Heritage Foundation has explicitly stated that religious devotion and spirituality are the only ways to live, and that the goal of government is to conform to his specific religious beliefs. This was their guide as they sat down to write Project 2025, their Bible for the future of America.
So,
the story of Project.
That was scary. And that's what we're dealing with on one side. I just got this Act Blue information, and that is the, I guess, the agenda for the Democrats, specifically the people who are funding Kamala Harris. And then we have, of course, Amanda Seals. Let's throw her in here.
I'll tell you what's actually happening. The binary of Republicans and Democrats has most folks only thinking in terms of 2 groups. But there's actually 3 groups. There's Republicans, there's Democrats, and then there's this third group of people who are neither, but who need to be engaged. And what seems to be happening is that this first group, who's Republicans, I don't rock with them at all. This second group, who are Democrats, those folks are looking at me saying that I'm a problem for them because I care about this third group. Yeah, but guess what? We need the third group to care. And so we have to care about them. So anyone who's standing in the gap for the third group should not be ostracized, but should actually be brought in. Unfortunately, this is the type of post that people don't share because I don't say someone's name. This is the type of post that people don't share because it doesn't have enough conflict in it. Because I'm making sense and I'm not angry and it doesn't fit the narrative that I'm a crazy person, even though I am wearing a shirt with cats dressed as astronauts. But this is the post that really should be shared and spread widely, just like all the misinformation about me that is constantly being spread that really doesn't do anything for pushing the goal of getting Project 2025 and Donald Trump out of here. In my opinion, the most effective effort to do so is not by caring about some, but by caring about everyone. And that's why I don't classify myself as a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a humanitarian. See you on Patreon. Ba-dum-bum.
You got to give it up to Amanda. I'm like, was she from Oakland in a past life? I mean, because she is definitely serving the people what they need to have when they have things. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So some of the other candidates that was on our picture, we know we have Chase. He's 38. He's Libertarian Party. We just saw what Donnie is going to do. Oh, let me show you one other thing from Donnie before we move on to. Got a lot of footage from this speech at the BCF.
The black president or the white president who got 1.7 billion off the price? I think they want the white guy right now.
Yeah, he said that. What's crazy is any other time the opposition mention race, you being a race hustler, why you bringing race in and everything, why you making yourself out to be a victim. But when he bring up race, all of a sudden I think about it as being truth evoking. No such thing as systemic racism, but there's such thing as black jobs. I know Trump and his team is mad because they spend so much money in campaigning talking about how old Joe is. Now, every single thing they said about Joe applies more to Trump. Now, you got to come up with some 1955 type misogyny racism to be able to say anything to Kamala Harris. As a matter of fact, he was talking a lot of noise when it was time to debate, but now all of a sudden he seems to be backpedaling. It sounds like conservative contradictions is striking again. And that's on being a race hustler, even though racism doesn't exist, even though it does when they say it do. Education is evolution.
Okay. So let's see.
Would you rather?
Let's get off of there. Did that resonate? Hopefully. This is all just information. Let's see what's going on. Does it feel like kitchen? Okay. So yeah, I feel you, Sebastian. They're equally as bad. Libertarian, I've never heard of them on the news ever. I get USA News. Yeah, let's look up what the different parties are. Let's see what they believe. Because that's a good thing to know. What do the Libertarian Party stand for? What does the whoa, what? There we go. So libertarians seek to maximize autonomy and political freedom, emphasizing equality before the law and civil rights to freedom of association, freedom of speech, freedom of thought, and freedom of choice. And who does that is Chase Oliver. This is Chase, an American activist. They're saying his platform. Hey, husband. Let's go here real quick. Thanks for coming to LRGA Curves. I hope you're smashing buttons on your way in and out. Let's see what he's talking about. Meet Chase, hailed as the most influential libertarian by Rolling Stone. His debate against Senator Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker's empty stadium thrust him into a national spotlight, earning over 80,000 votes and forcing a runoff. Now, as the Libertarian presidential nominee, he's on a mission to deliver a bold message of liberty to everyday Americans. The two-party system is broken and overdue for a shakeup. With inflation soaring and housing costs skyrocketing, it's clear the status quo isn't working. Americans need a new voice, one that challenges both Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Maybe he didn't get enough donations to change it to Kamala yet. Because, let's see, is it going anywhere? Uh-oh. Are you freezing me? Okay. He is 38-year-old libertarian activist, dubbed the most influential by Rolling Stone. He ran for Congress in 2020 for the 5th District to complete the term of the late civil rights John Lewis. In 2022, he ran for Senate, debating incumbent Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker's empty podium. Oliver was widely credited for causing the runoff between Warnock and Walker. He advocates the adoption of ranked choice voting to avoid future runoffs. And he already had a vice president with him. His name is Mike Termat. Mike campaigned as the Libertarian candidate in 2022. His prior career in finance and economics includes work with banks as a commercial loan officer, the White House Office of Management and Budget as a financial economist, consulting economist for federal and international agencies from 1992 to 2002. Mike was an advocate in Washington for free markets in financial services. He started professional education business for bank executives in 2009. He's traveled through 35 countries, taught economics at 3 universities, and has substituted at dozens of Broward public schools. His wife and 2 kids and 2 stepdaughters, 2 dogs, he likes 2s, and 1 truck, and a BS in aeronautical engineering and an MBA from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and an MS and PhD degrees. Ooh, he's very well educated in economics from the George Washington University. So we have Mike and Chase. Now, it doesn't say anything about Oliver's personal life, really. Interesting. So that's the Libertarians, you guys. Now, let's go to Jill. I love what Jill has to say. I wish they could cross party tickets.
This is kind of like a general theme right now that we can't talk about things. And you're getting shut down for all kinds of stuff. If you're on a campus and you want to talk about genocide, you're going to get your head bashed in, and you're going to get blacklisted, and you're going to get doxxed, and you are going to be thrown out of the university. We have this extremely anti-First Amendment environment right now where our rights of free speech are being shut down, the right of media and reporters to cover issues. We need to be able to debate stuff. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. It's really important for us to discuss it.
Yeah, I agree. Why does the DNC get to do that? Why does the DNC get to strong arm America and we just go along with it?
This is kind of like a general theme right now that we can't talk about things. And you're getting shut down for all kinds of stuff. If you're on a campus and you want to talk about genocide, you're going to get your head bashed in, and you're going to get blacklisted, and you're going to get doxxed, and you are going to be thrown out of the university. We have this extremely anti-First Amendment environment right now where our rights of free speech are being shut down, the right of media and reporters to cover issues. We need to be able to debate this stuff. Whether you agree with it or not doesn't matter. It's really important for us to discuss it.
Exactly. Mary and Joanne are having the conversation. Look, so first, we never heard of libertarians. What do they even stand for, right? And then why does the Democratic Party get to steamroll, whoever they want into candidacy onto the roll? Bernie Sanders, who many wanted before, and they did the same thing to him. They wouldn't let him even talk in a room with Hillary hardly. And we were just, okay, nothing to see here, folks. She's the one to be the first woman president. And they create false hype the way Teresa Giudice created false hype around her and her situation by using bloggers to get ahead of stories that weren't even out yet. See how art imitates life? Yeah. I thought the leader of the political party was voted in by party members. Exactly. That's what I keep saying. That's all I was saying on the panel this weekend. We are supposed to get to hear what Marianne has to say, what Robert actually switched to whatever he's to independent from Democrat. So he would have got to talk too. What Kamala has to say. And there were other Democrats at one point that just never got to hear from. But you can't, if you don't get heard from, how can you ask for donations? So you see how they basically, in essence, bankrupted the other possibilities by not even giving them a chance to be heard initially when it was time, because Joe kept his hat in the ring. So it's all this design and fashions that I don't feel like wearing. Okay? Let's see. we're supposed to get to vote. We're supposed to get to hear what they're saying and then vote. Don gets to walk around saying whatever the F he wants. People get to hear him all day. People got to hear the other people in his party all day. Why are the Democrats so scared? Unless you're in freaking hoots with your alleged enemy. Okay, there was a couple other things. I don't know why this isn't going up. Oh, this, before we get into good old Robert. Yeah, they're expecting this. This is from one day ago. His presidential campaign is set to be rocked by an explosive investigation from the Washington Post into his controversial private life. Okay. Yeah, some big sex scandal is about to drop on somebody other than Kamala Harris. Isn't it nice to know that men are going to get dick checked in this freaking campaign after all? I mean, nobody's dick checking 45 without saying he's still a great guy after all those counts against him, including raping, allegedly. But now we're supposed to be scared that his campaign is about to get rocked by a scandal. But all it did for 45 was make him more famous. So maybe it'll do the same thing for Robert, who is actually running as, here he is, an independent. Now, he's from the Kennedy family. He first entered the race in April 2023, challenging President Joe Biden. See, that's how long these primaries have been going along. Since 2023, we were supposed to be able to hear about other people, but even the news is in on it, you guys. Even our media is in on the suppression of voting rights because, in my opinion, because why didn't they let us hear these other people? Why weren't they interviewing all the other people so that the Americans, the media watchers, could know about all their choices? Since April 2023, we could have been having conversations about different agendas and platforms to combat Project 2025, the boogeyman. Really? Really? But now we only have, 97 days left to make a decision? But we had since April 2023. And now we're down to 97 days, but it's our fault because we're looking elsewhere. No, it's not my fault that I'm looking elsewhere. It's not my fault that the media forced me to have to look elsewhere. Because since 2023, I could have been hearing about Robert's point of view. I could have been hearing about Marianne's point of view. I could have been hearing about Jill's point of view. I could have been hearing about Cornell's point of view. And even Kamala, since obviously she was going to be a viable candidate, we could have even been hearing it from Kamala, from her point of view, since 23, for the primaries. But no, now we only have 97 days left. And there's only two devils to choose from. Whatever, kick rocks. Kick them. But that October, seeing his path overtaken by Biden blocked, he switched to independent, see? So in October of 2023, Biden was like, oh, I'm still going to stick around. Somebody get a case of those green tennis balls for my walker. I'm sticking around. So much so that he switched parties so he could still have his voice heard. Okay? So he switched to independent. Kennedy, along with running mate Nicole Shanahan, has sought to appeal to voters dissatisfied by both Democrats and Republican parties. He frequently accuses Biden, the former president, and former President Trump, of increasing government spending, prolonging U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts, and enacting policies beneficial to large corporations. Sounds about true. That all sounds very true. During the COVID demic, Kennedy drew national attention for spreading false information about the virus, vaccines, and public health measures. And I'm not sure what they're saying is fake because, I mean, the places are getting sued and people are dropping like flies. I'm not sure what he was saying that they're saying was false information at the time. But wasn't Fauci just up on somebody's Senate hearing answering for the stuff that could have been deemed false information by anybody? Anyway, past experience. Kennedy worked as an attorney in the environmental nonprofit Riverkeeper. He also was an attorney for Natural Resources Defense Council and president of Waterkeeper Alliance. He served as chairman for the Children's Health Defense, which is known for promoting anti-vaccination. They call it rhetoric. When you want sovereignty over your body, when you don't want the government to just get to stick anything into your kids without giving you a list and a known side effect tracking record for generations to come, they call it rhetoric. I feel like this is a biased this writing on CNN's website about these people is biased for saying, which is known for promoting anti-vaccination rhetoric. Why would you frame it like that for a person who's entitled to his beliefs and his opinion in America? I'm not sure. Anyway, his key campaign promises. Kennedy has promised to withdraw U.S. support for Ukraine. Thank you. Can I have some freaking money for Americans? And has pledged to negotiate an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. If you can, do it. If you can't, then don't. He's vowed to end the chronic disease epidemic. I'm not sure how he does that. He also said that he would enact a 5-year lobbying ban on former government officials. Ooh, I like that. And Kennedy has pledged to sign on his first day in office an executive order stating that any government official who lies will lose their job. Yay! I think that would be great. Now, the vice presidential candidate, her name is Nicole Sanahan, and she's from Silicon Valley, my neck of the woods. And she's an attorney and entrepreneur. She's the founder and president of Bia Echo Foundation, which is focused on reproductive longevity and equality, criminal justice reform, and health and a livable planet. Ooh, those are good things to be a part of. According to its website, Sanahan, the ex-wife of Google founder Sergey Brin, is independently wealthy and has contributed millions to her own campaign with Kennedy. I like independently wealthy people who don't have to be beholden to anybody else. I appreciate that, as long as they'll still listen to me. If I vote you in, like you, it's still we the people. Now, can we give it up for Cornel West, icon? Okay, so he's also in the Independent Party. When West announced his presidential bid in June 2023, okay, so we're still dealing with over 12 months ago, we had to get other informations, okay? Over 12 months ago, we had to get other informations for viable candidates, okay? Because in 2023 of June, he sought to run as the People's Party's line before pivoting to seek a Green Party nomination. Months later, he abandoned the party process altogether to run as an independent. The progressive scholar and his running mate, Professor activist Manila Abdullah, have sought support from disaffected Democrats who oppose Biden's support for Israel's military operation in Gaza. Wait just a second, people. Let me see this. My sister. Just a second. That was my sister. My sister, tell me what the trouble is. I try to listen good and give the best advice that I can give. Okay. So let's see, where were we? So let me tap back. Okay. So he worked as a professor at Yale, Princeton, and Harvard. He worked as a professor at Union Technological Seminary several times throughout the years, with his most recent stint beginning in 2021. Sounds like he's dedicated to education and cracking minds open with new free thoughts that challenge old ideals. I love it. That for a leader. West has said he would pressure Israel into agreeing to a permanent ceasefire in Gaza and would withdraw from Palestine territory. Can we get a shout out to Free Palestine? That's right. He also said he would cut off all U.S. aid to Ukraine. Yes. Can we keep some pennies, please? Americans work hard for all these dollars that are taxed, and we're sending them all over to places that don't start with A and have America in the middle. Okay. And I believe that we need to put a freaking tourniquet on that spending to other places that aren't us and start focusing on what's happening over here. I really do think we would get more respect even if we even did that, because nobody likes save a hoe when your wife's a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you coming to my house telling me how to live with my wife and you and your wife are swingers? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you preaching to me that and nothing at your house is in order? You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand where we think respect comes from if it's not practice what you preach. This isn't, you're not my parents. It's not do as I say, not as I do. What? Please. He pledged to enact free health care for all U.S. residents. West has also said that he would discontinue all oil and gas leasing projects on federal lands. He's committed to the payment of reparations to all Black U.S. residents. Can I get a shout out to somebody who's looking and talking about my interests? Okay. Can we get a shout out to differences and ideals and different POVs so that we can decide what's best for our families and our future of our planet and the future of our economy? Like, what's really sustainable? Is it really sustainable to keep on agreeing to send $107 billion to Ukraine every 2 years with more on the way? Is it really sustainable to do that with American dollars that are challenged by BRICS, that aren't even backed by gold? Is it really sustainable to do that? I'm asking for a friend. So now his vice presidential candidate, Melina Abdullah, is an academic and civic leader. She is tenured professor at California State University, Los Angeles. She serves as the chair of the Department of Pan-African Studies. She also served the Los Angeles County Human Relations Commission. She founded the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation chapter in Los Angeles and is the director of Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Now, did he pick the lady that bought that mansion that everybody is so upset about? Now, I'm not sure that that's a great choice, because everybody is just going to talk about how she spent that money on a mansion. Now, look, let me just tell you, from what I understand, the mansion that everybody's upset about is actually for the grieving families of victims of police violence, that in the meantime, when families aren't visiting because it's a freaking mansion, she just happens to oversee. And I think that's a great idea. I mean, after your family's been unalived by freaking the people that are supposed to protect and serve, and if you need a getaway to get out of that environment, it's beautiful that the organization thought that way. I think that's actually a great idea, but people are like, oh my God, she got money and spent it. Because they're always clocking how Black people spend their dollars. They were clocking how the indigenous people were spending their dollars. And that's where we got $5 Indians. So a white man could become an Indian so he could spend the dollar better than the Indian that was spending the dollar. They always want to question how we're going to spend money while they're sending all these monies to support war around the world. They're wondering how we're going to spend our money after we finally get reparations. They're wondering how we're going to spend our money when we open up a nonprofit organization, call it Black Lives Matter, and then spend our money on what we would think the fucking Black Lives Matter money needs to be spent on. The donations were not earmarked or promised for any particular thing. They were, in fact, donations to support a movement that moved. And that's just, she co-founded this Black Lives Matter foundation chapter in Los Angeles. Now, all the Black Lives Matter marches get thrown into hers when it's just in name only. It's not like the movement is owned by her. It's a specific chapter organization that she's a director of. Okay. So I think that's really important, but we should all do our own research on that. Now we have Jill Stein. She's in the Green Party. Stein originally served as Cornel West campaign manager during his brief stint as the Green Party candidate. Isn't that cute? But shortly after he switched to independent, Stein stepped forward to seek the Green nomination herself. Wow. Her campaign is largely focused on combating President Joe Biden's support for Israel's war in Gaza. In April, she was arrested at a protest at Washington University amid nationwide series of boycotts calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, which I personally feel was an affront and an abomination on our First Amendment rights of freedom of speech and the freedom to peacefully protest and gather. Okay, because everything I saw was peaceful. The only thing I saw not peaceful was the people coming to tear everybody up and arrest them for doing what they were doing peacefully and then trying to gaslight everybody, including the world. And Nettie just left from addressing us, talking about anybody that was out there was paid by the Iran. Did you hear him say that shit in America to Americans? That because we practice our right to freedom of speech and freedom to protest and freedom to fucking think with our own minds. Did you hear about that? He said that? That all those people that were on college campuses are paid basically terrorists. Did you hear him say that? So what's he going to want to bomb over here now too? Because you heard him say wherever they are, he has to get to them. That's why he's leeching over in Tehran. I see Al Jazeera just went live because he just bombed something else today, right now. Because it's everywhere. You know, you make a boogeyman crazy enough and with enough lies, then everybody's the boogeyman. And it gives his bombs permission to go everywhere. And nobody's doing nothing to stop him. But people like Cornel West, people like Jill Stein want to cut off funding to this freaking maniac, in my opinion. I don't get it. In April, she was arrested. Okay, so her past experience prior to launching her political career, Stein worked as a physician and was an environmental activist. She was then the Green Rainbow Party nominee for Massachusetts governor in 2002 and 2010, as well as the party's nominee for Massachusetts Secretary of the Commonwealth in 2006. She was the Green Party's presidential candidate in 2012 and 2016. Her promises are proposed a climate policy that goes further than progressive Democrats' Green New Deal, pushing the U.S. to achieve zero carbon emissions in a faster timeline. She's pledged to withdraw U.S. support from Israel and Ukraine. She's in favor of guaranteed free public education from pre-K through college. Ooh, nice. Stein has also said that she would cancel all medical debt as well as double the number of Supreme Court justices. Ooh, I like that. And subject them to 18-year term limits. Speaking of which, did you hear that old Bitey must have heard that Jill was saying these specific things? Because he just announced that he wants to challenge the Supreme Court. Specifically, one of the things is he wants to enact 18-year term limits, okay? So I don't know if they've been in the same rooms talking about things. Now, Jill's VP has yet to be determined, and we already went over Chase and Mike Termat, okay? So, and then we did a real deep in-depth on Marianne the other day, but let me run a Marianne through for us. There she is. Before we go, thanks for coming through to LRGA Curves. I hope you enjoyed this getting to know us session of the other candidates. Let me see, is it this one?
President Biden stood aside today from his quest for the Democratic nomination. He's deserving of our respect and our gratitude. He has mine. And now we all have to take it from here. What's most important is that we remember the tenets of democracy. You can't save democracy if you're not embracing its truths yourself. Democracy is messy. Democracy has to do with people thinking. And part of what I objected to for the last year and a half is that basically people were told not to. The decision had already been made. Joe is the one. Joe is the only one who can defeat Trump. I felt that there should be a real contest, that whoever felt like running, myself, Dean Phillips, Jen Huger, whoever, should be part of a dynamic, robust conversation, a serious primary by which voters got to think, where should we go from here? And now, already, they're up to the same old kinds of tricks. So many people are now saying, okay, now what we have to do is we all have to get behind Kamala. Now, Kamala Harris might be the best candidate. And if she is the best candidate, then she should debate me and anyone else who is coming up. Anyone else who is saying that they think they would be best for the job. This is not a moment to be told, don't think now. Let someone else who apparently knows more do your thinking for you. And that is why it is so important right now that we not just fall in line the way we're being told to. We cannot just shoehorn in another candidate now. That is not democracy. That should not be the way of the Democratic Party. And if we do that, the American people will not be impressed. And the American voters will not put the Democrat in the White House in 2024. So I'm a candidate for this race. I hope that others aren't being told, don't run, have you on the VP list, we'll make you a cabinet secretary if you just hold back now. Let's not play those games. Let's do what democracy is supposed to do. And all of the delegates who will now make this very, very important decision, I respectfully submit that this is not a time for you to fall in line with anything or anyone. It is time for you to think. And I hope that you will listen to me. I hope you will listen to whomever else is running and then vote your conscience. I want to tell you why I feel that I'm the one to win. Donald Trump has introduced a new era of politics. Any status quo politician, no matter how good they are, it's not going to happen. Okay, we're all just going to all get in line and there will be enough of us. There will not be enough of us. A majority of Americans do not want to see Donald Trump return to the White House, but that does not mean that a majority of Americans would, by definition, necessarily vote for the Democrat. There will be other choices, and one of those choices is staying home. So I believe that in order to defeat Donald Trump's rather big lies, we're going to tell some big truths. We have to tell the truth to the American people, which is that we acknowledge that the American economy at this point is rigged in favor of a few at the expense of the many. And just tweaking things here and tweaking things there will not be enough to fix this. There's a matrix of corporate overlords, insurance companies, pharmaceutical companies, big food companies, big agriculture, big chemical, big oil, and defense contractors. And they form a kind of matrix of corporate overlords at this point. Their short-term profits are placed time and time again before the safety, health, and well-being of the American people. If and when I am made the nominee, my message will be that their day of dominance is over now. We will take a U-turn economically. We will have an economic Bill of Rights. We will have Medicare for all. We will have tuition-free college and tech school. We will make sure that we have a pure food supply. We will deal with addiction. We will deal with genuine climate emergency. We will deal with affordable housing. We will deal with guaranteeing a living wage. We will do those things if we have the House. We will do those things if we have the Senate. We'll do those things if and when I'm president. You know, Franklin Roosevelt called those people the economic royalists, and they didn't like him. They came at him, they called him a socialist, just like they would do me. And you know what he said? I welcome their hatred. Well, I don't welcome anybody's hatred, but I remember the basic tenet, not just of Franklin Roosevelt, but of the Democratic Party, the unequivocal advocacy for the working people of the United States. And even when I am president of the United States, there will be no doubt who this mother's working for. It's time. We don't have time to wait. I heard so much when over the last year and a half, oh, she can't win. I said that's somebody else now. She can't win, but I can. Thanks so much. Go to marianne2024.com. Let's get this started.
So there's that, you guys. Let's see if this will play.
It is very obvious that there has been intergenerational hardship financially. The gap between blacks and whites that is so egregious in America today is a legacy not only of slavery, not only almost 250 years of slavery, but also of almost 100 years since then of institutionalized suppression of black people. This is 350
But at what point do we
years.
stop feeling guilty about the past?
After we paid our debt.
Or paying for the past.
There's a difference.
But Marianne, here's my point. It never stops. Once you uncork that bottle, you end up never stopping.
Can I just say, Pierce is spot on. It sure hasn't stopped for Jewish Americans or Jewish people. He's exactly right. Once you start reparations, you can't stop, can you? Unless you feel like it, because the Japanese only got reparations once. It wasn't a continuous thing. The Chinese people only got reparations once. It wasn't a continuous thing. So there are cases when reparations is a continuous civ, and other cases where it's not. I'm so glad that Pierce is observant enough to acknowledge that.
Let me talk. There's a difference between blame and responsibility. I don't feel I need to feel guilty. My parents came from Russia and Poland, my grandparents. So it's not about my grandparents. It's not about my feeling guilty. It is about my feeling responsible for the well-being of my nation. Germany paid over $89 billion to Jewish organizations after World War II. And I think that financial remuneration has had a lot to do with not only the financial, but even more importantly, the psychological and emotional healing between Germany and the Jews of Europe. And this is a healing that we have not had. That war was over in 1945. Ours was over in 1865, and we still take this toxic baton and we pass it generation to generation.
You make a good point.
And that's all we need to hear, some other points. Not that it can't happen.
So even with Vice President Kamala Harris raking in millions of dollars since yesterday's announcement, plus the increasing number of powerful endorsements, Marianne Williamson says, hold on, wait just a minute. Clearly, the Democratic Party wants to move quickly and is eager to not only move on from all the infighting, but Dems also believe they have a fighting chance to beat Donald Trump. So does Marianne Williamson, and she's taking advantage of every moment now to step into the void while declaring that no one should simply be anointed to that position of nominee and that all candidates must be heard and their agendas explored. Marianne Williamson joining me once again here in studio. Good to see you again as the news continues to change. You know, you want a process where all candidates, including yourself, are taken seriously here, are considered in a very serious manner. How do you go about doing that this close to the convention?
Well, I have to get 300 delegates. We have a few. People can write who are delegates to convention at marianne2024.com. Not that signing that pledge to nominate me would mean that you were actually voting for me at the end of the process. It would mean that you were standing for an open convention. You know, the problem over the last year and a half is that it was decided that Joe Biden would simply be rubber stamped. The answer now is not to rubber stamp Kamala Harris. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about this moment. Democrats need to take advantage of this exciting moment, but we also need to think deeply about what the larger goal is here. The larger goal is winning in November. So the tack that many people are taking is let's have everyone endorse her. Let's have everyone stand in line, which is exactly what we were doing behind Joe Biden. This is not democracy, number one. And also, it's not the way to win.
Thanks for coming back, Sarah.
Vote blue no matter who.
remember, Democrats can't just win if only people who are already committed Democrats vote for us in November. We need to appeal to independence. We need to recognize complacency itself as our opposition here. Hillary, this is very much like 2016. It was a mistake for us to say, let's just continue the win of the last 8 years. Too many people said, what win? What success,
What
lady?
win?
I'm drowning.
What success?
That was their response to Hillary Clinton. We cannot run just by saying that we've done so well in the last 4 years. And we also can't run just by making it about prosecuting Donald Trump. We will win by talking to the American people about how we're going to improve their lives over the next 4 years. And Kamala Harris should be not only able, which I assume she's able, but she should be made to speak to this. We need to talk to the American people about healthcare. I need to hear from her about not only the obvious things like Ukraine, like Israel and Palestine, like immigration, but what about hunger in America? What about the fact that 1 in 4 Americans live with medical debt? What about the fact that 39% of Americans are skipping meals regularly in order to pay their rent? What about the fact that 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck? Now, when they say, well, we've got an economy that works for the middle class, millions of people in the United States are saying, what middle class? Middle class was the 1970s. Middle class was when the average American couple could afford a house. The average American couple could afford a yearly vacation. The average American couple could afford a car, and for one parent to stay home if they wished, and to send their kids to college. That's what we need to be speaking to, not just bragging about what we've already done, and not just by speaking about how bad Donald Trump is. So I want this to be an open convention so that we can have the deeper conversations that I think are necessary in order to win in November. We can't just fall in line. You know, this is the Democratic Party here. We're supposed to, democracy should be at the center of our process.
It's like a NASCAR race right now, the speed at which this is happening. And when I was out covering the RNC this past week, I was talking to voters on both sides, and there were so many people that said to me, I'm not happy either way. This is my party. I'm not happy. This is my party. I'm not happy. And now Democrats are rushing. They're coalescing around Kamala Harris. The donors also. You have the analysts saying this is a done deal. Can you slow it down at this point? And what would it take to slow it down to open up the field for others like yourself to really have a chance here?
I don't want to slow down the energy. It's kind of beautiful, the energy, the excitement, the feeling among Democrats. We have a chance now. We have a chance. What I'm saying, however, is we have to keep our eye on the ball. The ball is winning in November. And the idea of everybody just falling in line, endorsing Kamala without any insistence. What you got, Kamala? What are your views? How are you going to do this? That is not democracy, and it's not even a winning strategy. A winning strategy is to say very respectfully to Kamala Harris and anyone else who would come in. So far, the only person who's filed a petition is me. But if it's me, let it be me. Why should we be so afraid of that? I think two women speaking, not in any kind of a catty way, but in a respectful way, in a meaningful way,
are you calling
would be
for
very
debates
good
here?
for America. Of course I am, and that's why I'm seeking to get those nominations. I've got a few. We've got to stop surrendering our free thinking. We've got to stop being so afraid of democracy. We've got to stop being so afraid of an open conversation. An open convention will be very exciting, and anything less than that will get the excitement of the already vote blue no matter who. That is not enough to win in November.
I'll tell you what, the last debate definitely showed America a big difference between Trump and Biden. We saw it was such a disaster for President Joe Biden, that debate. So wouldn't that be exciting to have the opportunity to debate this time around among those that want to be on that Democratic ticket? You were on the debate stage with Kamala Harris when both of you were running for president. What do you think her strengths are? What do you think her weaknesses are?
She's an experienced woman. However, her weaknesses, what does she stand for? What issue do you associate with her? Her civil rights record is very bad. Sending people to jail, to prison for marijuana in California. not releasing people who even the courts had said should be released, and actually saying that she wasn't releasing them because they needed the cheap labor for firefighting in California. This idea that, when people say we just have to stand behind Kamala, usually these are people who can pay for health care. These are people who can afford to send their kids to college. There's a whole swath of Americans out there who are hurting. Kamala, how are we going to address that? Because if all we're going to do is to brag about what we've done in the last 4 years, she keeps saying, even in the clip you showed, President Biden is in there fighting for the American people. All credit where credit is due, and in many ways he has, but millions and millions, even tens of millions of Americans don't feel that. They're having trouble putting food on the table. And they find it, in my experience, what people say to me, their concerns being neglected. Why are we not talking about poverty in America? Why are we not talking about near poverty? Why are we not talking about the fact that millions and millions and millions, in fact, 70% of the American people say that they live with chronic economic stress? And let's not in any way underestimate the role that economic anxiety has in the mental health crisis. How are we going to wage peace? What are we going to do to actually face the climate emergency? We have the floods, we have the fires, we have the hurricanes. And no, I'm sorry, this president has, as they call him, the climate president. The truth is he's given more oil permits than Trump did. I want to hear from Kamala. What are you going to do? Are you going to just continue this investment in green energy on one hand, while on the other hand giving more permits to oil companies? There is nothing wrong in saying Kamala Harris needs to respond to these things, talk to these things.
So whether it's Kamala Harris or you or someone else, do Democrats now have a better chance of beating Trump than they did before?
Yes, I think we do. Of course, I think we do. But at the same time, this is more like 2016 than like 2020. 2020, the mood of the country was, please give us some normalcy. Now it's more like the anger, the frustration, the pain that is out there must be addressed.
There's a lot of fear, too.
And a lot of fear. Kamala Harris is not being served by her supporters. She's not being served by the Democratic Party if this is just a coronation. She's not being served. She's being served by someone who says, what you got, Kamala? What you got? Because I know what I got. That would be good for Kamala Harris if we're to actually win in November.
Marianne Williamson, always a treat to have you here on set. As never normal election cycle. I mean, the political arena is something we have never seen before. It's great to have you along for the ride. Thanks, Marianne.
Now, isn't it great to hear a POV? Wasn't that incredible to hear? And many people are like, you can't complain about stuff without offering a solution. Well, I appreciate that. And I still feel like, not complain, but talk about was what I felt like the person was doing. Like racism and white supremacy and these white racist systems that are in America and whether or not it's true. And when Black people say it, it's like, oh, we can't talk about that. And we never really get to finish the conversation. And everybody knows that you can't heal if you're in denial. Open a 12-step book. So we need to have the hard conversation, tear down to the bare nuts, crying snot out of our nose, eyes puffy for a year because we finally get to talk about it all. And then from that, build up how we want things to be, but it's going to take a hard conversation. Nobody wants to, everybody's so concerned about how these white kids are feeling about what Black Americans experienced in America that they don't even want us to finish a sentence before people like Pierce are asking, then it will never stop. You know how they are. They're just going to keep having their hands out. But we haven't even had a chance to demonstrate that yet because other people groups are so busy getting to demonstrate that. I mean, literal American states earmark and send millions of dollars to Israel. Did you know where Sonia Macy was unalived? Illinois had sent $10 million to Israel. Did you know that? The governor of New York just sent millions of dollars to Israel and earmarked millions of dollars for some type of reparation for Jewish people. Right now in 2024, that's what's fucking happening. And that's okay with like everybody. Everybody. I guess it's okay for the Americans that get dual citizenship to Israel and to America, but not all of us are Jewish. So that kind of feels like discrimination. In the land of the free and the home of the brave, give us all your people. The melting pot, but only the people with dual citizenship to Israel are the ones getting melted. I'm not sure what is going on. And I'm just now finding out about this whole dual citizenship shit. Let's keep on listening. Another thing Marianne always talks about is who's paying for this?
Over the last 48 years, there has been a transfer of $50 trillion from the bottom 90% to the top 1% of Americans. And this is due to an economic mindset called by many names. You can call it neoliberalism. You can call it trickle-down economics, hyper-capitalism, free market fundamentalism, whatever it is. It is the very idea that a company, a major corporation's main responsibility should be its fiduciary responsibility to its stockholders. Now, previous to that, there was a sense that there were many stakeholders. The workers were stakeholders. The community was a stakeholder. The environment was a stakeholder. Once we were seduced into this thinking that no, what we need to do is make sure the stockholders and then the CEO class make a lot of money, that'll be better, see, because they'll make so much money and they'll be the job creators.
Right.
And so that money will trickle down and it will lift all boats. Not only has it not lifted all boats, it's left millions and millions of people without even a life vest. It has caused decreased spending in the public sector so that there could be increased spending and wealth creation in the private sector. It has involved the demonization and the suppression of unions. It has caused this squeezing of benefits. You know, in the 1970s, the average American worker had decent benefits, could afford a car, could afford a vacation every year, could afford a home, and could afford to send their kids to college. It could even afford for one parent to stay home to be with the children if they wanted to. That was in the 1970s. So today, the American economy works for roughly 20% of us. And if you're in that 20%, it's an enchanted economic island. But that island is surrounded by a vast sea of economic despair. Over the last 48 years, there has been a transfer of $50 trillion from the bottom 90% to the top 1% of Americans. And this is due to an economic mindset called by many names. You can call it neoliberalism. You can call it trickle-down economics, hyper-capitalism, free market fundamentalism, whatever it is. It is the very idea that a company, a major corporation's main responsibility should be its fiduciary responsibility to its stockholders. Now, previous to that, there was a sense that there were many stakeholders. The workers were stakeholders. The community was a stakeholder. The environment was a stakeholder. Once we were seduced into this thinking that no, what we need to do is make sure the stockholders and then the CEO class make a lot of money, that'll be better, see, because they'll make so much money and they'll be the job creators.
Right.
And so that money will trickle down and it will lift all boats. Not only has it not lifted all boats, it's left millions and millions of people without even a life vest. It has caused decreased spending in the public sector so that there could be increased spending and wealth creation in the private sector. It has involved the demonization and the suppression of unions. It has caused this squeezing of benefits. You know, in the 1970s, the average American worker had decent benefits, could afford a car, could afford a vacation every year, could afford a home, and could afford to send their kids to college. It could even afford for one parent to stay home to be with the children if they wanted to. That was in the 1970s. So today, the American economy works for roughly 20% of us. And if you're in that 20%, it's an enchanted economic island. But that island is surrounded by a vast sea of economic despair. Over the last 48 years, there has been a transfer of $50 trillion from the bottom 90% to the top 1% of Americans. And this is due to an economic mindset called by many names. You can call it neoliberalism.
Now, I wanted us to really hear that. Have you heard any other candidates even talking about the fucking American people and what we're really, really going through? They keep talking about shit like infrastructure. Yeah, I drive, but I don't care about the roads more than I care about food on my fucking table. You know what I'm saying? You hear them talk about things like, reduce the price of insulin. Thank God nobody in my family needs insulin. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Let's check these comments out. So, where are they? I see them better over here. Callie Nola's in the house. Thanks for coming through. Sarah's back. Request mine. Oh yeah, I do TikTok. It's a love-hate relationship. And yeah, what I thought one of them did say something about they were going to stop the TikTok ban or something, but it wasn't in whatever we just read. I love Marianne Williamson. I love her. She's a natural orator. She like her vibe comes across. She's not, everybody keeps trying to pass her off like she's some type of leftover from the 60s that happened to be able to string a sentence together, but she spent so much time allegedly getting high in the 60s. They're surprised she can. And that's not the case at all. She was not like dropping acid to the point where all she sees are fucking unicorns. Those sounded like good, sound solutions for Americans and what we're currently facing in America. And it has zero to do with the current administration's agenda or the continued agenda from even when 44 was in office. We got to vote in our best interest. We can't vote for skin color. You got to vote for who's talking to you. Who's talking to you? Has Kamala talked to us, or did her first time she talked to us as the nominee, as the new presidential nominee, did she pledge her allegiance to Israel? Or did she talk to Black America? Did she talk to America? She didn't. The first talk she gave, she pledged her allegiance to Israel. That talk had practically zero to do with America, except for the people with dual citizenship from America who were in Israel when they were in the occupied territory and got snatched up on the 7th, allegedly. Yes, indeed, mademoiselle. The game is rigged. It's so ridiculous the way they say Black folk have their hand out and that they're always only asking for what is owed. Oh, but that hand is only asking for what is owed, and it's being slapped away continuously. They just be playing in our motherfucking faces all the time, and then tell us who we are. They play in our face, disrespect us, and then tell us we're not who we are unless we vote for them. That doesn't make anybody else yell when they say it. It's just fucked up. The amount of gaslighting and fucking with my hypothalamus that's going on. One made a 1994 crime bill that decimated Black American families and continues to do so. And the other one prosecuted people that she also agreed were super predators for having shit that was legal in the state at the time. She really did that. And everybody's like, you just don't like Black people. You just like orange things. For speaking facts and truth. So you just don't want him to win then? Oh, you just don't want democracy then? How about that? Yeah, I know. The democracy is way overrated unless we're going to another country trying to impose it. Let's see what the rest of these comments are saying. The main reason why we never see change is because we keep voting for the same two fucking ass cheeks. And they do not have any agenda for us. These ass cheeks don't have an agenda for us. They use us, they abuse us, and then in the meantime, they tell us to wait and we're not doing shit for you as soon as they get the panties. As soon as they bust a nut, they get up and tell you to wait, and they're not doing shit for you, by the way. I'm sorry if that was a little vulgar. But what they're doing to American democracy is what's motherfucking vulgar. Look, here comes potty mouth. Here comes potty mouth. Oh, you guys started it now. I mean, I can do equalizer stuff and like cuss you out with no swear words, but for emphasis sake, my truck driver pops out. For some reason, a good swear word emphasizes a point for me. Flibberty gibbets. I don't think any white folk would put up with it, honestly, right? Hey, look, I'm not sure. There was a whole lot of white dudes that got kicked off Twitter for going with Kamala. We only think we are in charge of anything here. World Bank, BlackRock, Vanguard, Bilderberg, whoever else. Yep. And that's because we allow it. I mean, if we voted for people that they didn't have in their pocket, then maybe they wouldn't be in the motherfucking pockets. It just makes it so simple. So simple. Yeah, and most people aren't aware of the options. That's why I decided to, on LRGA Curves today, make sure we get to understand who's really running for office. What are the real options? What's really, really, really happening? There's literally 2 people running for office being forced on us when there are all these other things that we can at least hear. So maybe Marianne doesn't win. Maybe we do vote for Kamala. Maybe if that does happen, we can at least have heard what Marianne said and strongly suggest to Kamala that she absorbs some of the POVs from that, since we're going to let you go ahead and have this nomination as the Democrat, but only if you decide to adopt the several things that Marianne Williamson is talking about. Then you didn't even have to come up with it, because you haven't come up with nothing yet, Kamala. I see Callie Nola's been checking your freaking website every day to see what you got planned for the American people, and there's nothing there except for this. One of those weird grins that make me convinced that you're wearing some kind of skin suit. I don't even smile that much. And I've been fired for being too happy. I don't even smile as much as Kamala Harris. And when I do, it's at the right time. It's not just... Pledge of Allegiance to Israel. We have to stand in Ukraine. What's she going to do for Americans here on American soil? What's she doing for us? What is she going to do for her education? What is she going to do for healthcare? What is she going to do about these astronomical rents? They're right. Oh, damn, that's a lot of bottles today. I heard that. Wow. Recycling, everybody do your part. It's crazy. We need to have a primary. It's not too late, mademoiselle. We did need the primary, and we really need primary now that Joe is out of the race. The only reason, allegedly, we didn't get a primary in the first place was because Joe was the ticket. But now that he's off the ticket, by proxy, it should open us to be able to at least have a debate at the Democratic National Convention between Mary Ann and Kamala. And whoever else wants to throw their hat in the ring. She uses this supposed to be Black identity for PR. She doesn't care or have a connection to Black America beyond masquerading as a Black woman. Callie Nola, that is the sentiments of so many people. It's kind of like, because her actions on Black America speak to her love for Black America, right? And she loved Willie good enough when he was getting her whatever he needed to get her. And somebody actually said, there was this meme talking about she had a before, and I don't even know. I don't know the woman's womb. But if she really did do that, then, and now I don't even know. I'm just not, I don't know where her history. I know that she did for a long time only acknowledge a certain aspect to her. She kind of pulled a Drake at one time, where she's two things, but highlighted one thing more than the other until the other came in handy. And then it was all HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. People often laughing nervously when they're putting on an act. She's no different than Rachel Dolezal. Oh my gosh. You know, that's the lady. And that's when I lost full respect for the NAACP. I was like, y'all couldn't tell? Y'all couldn't even tell? Had her in charge of the chapter for the NAACP in her state. And it was Rachel Dolezal, and she was full on doing blackface, y'all. She was in black body. Yes. We could have been hearing from all these other people for a year. And for some reason, there's an agenda, a plot that's happening that is making these two choices be what the people with money and power want. They don't want nobody talking to Mary Ann asking you where you got your funding from, AIPAC. And then speaking of AIPAC has funded the Democrats specifically with $15 million this election cycle. Whereas on the other hand, they only gave the Demis $9 million. Google what AIPAC is. Google it. You don't have to listen to shit I say. They decimated our families when they took Black people from Africa. Exactly. And brought them to America. Then they decimated it even more when they sold us one by one to white slave masters to another. Exactly. It's like they're always after our joy. That's why I feel like even Black joy is a big form of resistance. And that's why we was always singing and clapping, trying to be like, ha, you're not stopping shit, devil. We rebuke you in the name of Jesus, devil. Always singing and clapping. But we wasn't smiling. She's not a FBA, foundational Black American, which I have a problem with, first generation. But there are people whose ancestors have been here since the 1600s. Exactly. There were free Frenchmen here when England decided to send over their criminals when it was a penal colony for England. There were already free French Black men. Let's see who that is. You got it? Milo, you got it? Milo, let's see. Let's see, my mind. Oh, look, it's for mommy. Thank you. Okay, you inspect that, Milo. I think it looks okay, though. Remember when the demic first started and the packages would come and we'd leave them by the door for 3 hours to let any germs fall off? And then even before that, we'd touch them. We would like wipe them down with antibacterial and stuff. Remember that? Were you guys that crazy? I got a little crazy during the thing. Her dad is mixed. Many people from Jamaica have said in Jamaica, he would never be considered a Black person. She's not Black, y'all. And then plus her dad's people were descendants of slave owners who the town and the parish is named after. It's like Brownstown or something in Jamaica. And it was named that because of the slave owner from who was her like great grandfather or something like that. Did you guys hear that story? Google it. It's about destroying the Black family unit. That's why they took Black men out of the home, started imprisoning them just to try to survive. Yep, it's the rigged system. They want a world full of Sonia Macy's alone at home with your kids, minding your own Black business so they can kick in your door and have their way with you. That's what they fucking want. That's what they want. They get off on it. It's all kind of weird rituals going on. And we can, now that it's already 2.5 hours in and I've got through all the candidates, Candace Owens, God bless her soul. She has 3 points on some days that end in Y. And she had a point yesterday and I was like, so yeah, she had a couple points yesterday and I was just going to share with us some of the things that she was saying, because I feel again like they're playing in our faces with some of the explanations coming out about the French Olympic opening ceremony. And she did a very long video yesterday and begged us to share it around just so these other POVs can get out there. And I've heard the things that she said in this video before. I've been to level 8 many times, and the things that she was talking about are plentiful available on level 8. Everybody who knows what level 8 knows. As far as conspiracy theories go, that's where level 8 is when it starts getting deep. I don't spend lots of time on level 9, 10, or 11, but the shit she was talking about, I'm sure was level 12. But I've heard about it on level 8. So let's see if I can get that. Oops, a daisy. Politics, Candace Owens. Let's go here while I get this queued up. Her dad looks almost white except for, the hair. Exactly. Yeah. She is not an honest broker. She coons for them. She's got mental issues that need to be addressed. She does. I agree that there are some things that I'm like, really, Candace? Really, Candace? And then there are some other things that I'm like, okay, well, she has a point. She has a point. Like her interview with Amber Rose the other day, I wasn't on that tip. I'm not praising Amber Rose. And I was surprised that she even sat down with Amber Rose because she's so ultra Christian conservative. And then she's sitting down with this atheist. And, if you really about your Bible, you're not even like, what's it called? You're not even hanging out with devil makers. You're not even supposed to be in their presence. But let's just go and see if I can find this. I just heard recently to watch out for bed bugs in Amazon. Oh my gosh, really? Well, I do leave it over there, but on the wood when I bring it in. I don't. Okay, so you guys, I'm with you, Larja. I sometimes surprise myself with Candace Owens. Yeah, it's like hit and miss. It's hit and miss. She can do 2 lies and a truth instead of 2 truths and a lie. You know what I'm saying? So, but I feel like her POV doesn't make her a liar. You know what I mean? And when the way she puts her words together sound like you're really mistaken. Like when she was saying something about Sonia Macy wasn't racist. I'm like, well, says the lady who sued the NAACP for taking up for her. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Let's see. I wouldn't be surprised if Marianne has as much African ancestry as Kamala. I know. She has a lot of soul for sure. Guys, try checking out the book, The Way We Never Were. A lot of what we believe about past America never really happened. Yes. Oh my gosh. I've been looking at stuff like that about how just everything is a lie. And because they put it in a book, then we believe it because we haven't actually been there. And then enough people say a lie long enough, then everybody believes it's the truth because nobody knows the original story. And yeah, it's big. It's big. So thanks for listening about the 7 candidates. Now I'm going to transition for at least a half hour into what Candace was talking about yesterday, which is the Paris Olympics opening. And I had been interested in Candace Owens about a month ago. No, actually, it was around the same time that Ben Shapiro and everybody got her fired from the Daily Mail. That she was talking about how the French president's wife could possibly be a transvestite, and was merely reading articles of French journalists who had mysteriously been unalived, and merely reading what they had written about their research about Brigitte Macron, and about their suggestions that she was perhaps not a biological woman. And when they asked her for proof, she would like give them colorized photos of her daughter, and of her alleged daughter. And then she supposedly has a brother, but they've never been pictured together. And as soon as Bridget started taking pictures, all the photos of her brother ceased to exist. I don't know. It's a lot of shit on level 8, you guys. Anyway, so when Candace Owens was fired, she was like, it wasn't just the Daily Mail stuff that she thought got her let go. It was also this stuff about France and what she was saying about Brigitte Macron, allegedly. So all the things I say today are, where's my allegedly? I still have my allegedly. Bye. All the things I say today are allegedly, and in my opinion, okay? But so then they had the Paris openings, and I didn't really watch the grand opening to the things. I only saw clips online, and I was just reposting the clips that I saw. I didn't have a real view. All I know is that when I initially did see the images, I was like, oh, a Last Supper theme. I was one of the people that thought that. I mean, it literally looked like a Last Supper, and it did allegedly have to do with the supper. And a lot of Christians felt mocked by it. And it was a parody, which is to mock. So they did mock it. And so, yeah. So, and then ultimately France had to apologize. But Candace's question was this a coming out party for Bridget? Like, why did they decide that as a country, they would open with a Last Supper parody of drag queens, and then there was a child thrown in the mix at the table? I don't know. But anyway, let's get into some of the things that Candace Owens yesterday did say. She wants everybody there and wants the word to get out, because she's pretty sure the video is going to get taken down and deleted. Yeah, they banned hijabs. Horrified, offensive. Yeah, it felt really offensive.
Hey, fellow lobsters, if you've ever read 12 Rules for Life, have you ever wondered how to talk to your kids about these ideas? Well, now there's a Tuttle Twins book.
Come on. I don't appreciate that they did that to that imagery. I don't know what gave them the right to like mess with that. I mean, I'm like, they didn't have anybody in the room. Oh, look, where's the video? Here it is.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Look, that's the appropriate way to begin all of this. I mean, this is just incredible. It's incredible, not because it happened, but it's incredible that it took this happening for so many people to wake up. The amount of text messages I got, Candace, weren't you saying something about Brigitte Macron being a man? Where can I find that episode? I want to look at it now. The amount of tweets that I got, the amount of people that were on social media going, I really thought that what you were saying seemed so far outstretched, but now I'm realizing there's something going on in France. It's just incredible. But hey, guys, I'm glad you're here. We've been talking about this a lot on my new podcast. I've been leaning into speaking a lot about spirituality because it's pretty obvious what's going on. You know, what's going on. It's angels versus demons, tale as old as time, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk, of course, about the satanic Olympic ceremony. Really, a ceremony to honor Brigitte Macron. In my view, that's what we have coming up on Candace.
Okay, it's frozen. Let me see.
You know, I actually wish we could show you this and like go over it just every second by second, so you can really understand what is happening. But of course, they would hit this because part of what they're trying to do, of course, is to use the mainstream media to pretend like everything you saw.
Yeah, it doesn't want me to play this. Interesting. Everybody should have a personal mantra. And then they say it 100 times a day. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. I'm the greatest of all time. That's what Muhammad Ali would say all day. Okay. Let me reduce the speed. That was way too fast. She sounded like chipmunks. I can kind of understand her, but I want you guys to be able to understand her also. Let me see if it'll play. Thanks for coming through. Smash the buttons. Yeah, that was pure mockery. And I don't know why they're gaslighting people talking about, oh, you lack culture. You didn't know that that was really Pythagoras's Last Supper, which is still a thing on the Last Supper. Oh my gosh, look, it's literally not letting it play. Let me stop the share real quick and see if I can get this to work. X off. X off. Open. Close. Oh, I love sipping hot coffee. I love it. And I like to make that little slurp sound too. I'm sorry, you guys. So now my YouTube doesn't even want to open. You know, we're getting a lot of solar flares right now, so bear with me. Plus Mercury just went retrograde. So our devices. Oh, is it splotchy? Yeah, it's like really splotchy for some reason. Let me see. Is it splotchy just for me? I'm sorry, you guys. The commercials play fine. That plays fine. But what about my video? So you got internet connection for commercials, but not for my stream. Okay, I see you, YouTube. I see you, YouTube. I see you, YouTube. Okay, so you can hear me again. Great. Yeah, I'm not sure why it keeps doing weird stuff, except for a huge, what do they call it? The name of the coronal mass is so huge. It's huge, you guys. So if you find yourself feeling weird, it could actually be pure solar coming through you. Okay, so I'm back in finally. Let me go to herstory. Yeah, I was just spinning over here. Wow. I need to come over here and do that in a minute. Okay, it's normal. I'm going to increase it to 125 at least. And then I'm going to share it again. Let me put this back. And she's already talking. Yeah, the ads are freaking strong today. Okay, is this it? Share this. Just her intro. Good.
You know, I actually wish we could show you the ceremony and like go over it just every second by every second, so you can really understand what is happening. But of course, they would hit this because part of what they're trying to do, of course, is to use the mainstream media to protect.
Here you go, Joe. Cheers, darling. Yes, we're all having a cup of coffee together. This is as close as we get into the Jetsons, girl. We got filters and everything. Remember on the Jetsons, we would be like this, and Judy Jetson would just like pop a filter on, and she would look like she was all made up. So that's what this is.
And like everything you saw wasn't exactly what you saw, because as I've told you guys, we are now at the point in human history where they are signaling to us that we should not believe our own eyes. What did our own eyes tell us? Well, obviously, they were mocking the Last Supper by putting on a drag show. So I'm going to show you this still as a beginner so you can understand and see that side by side. I mean, it is exact. It is as exact as it possibly could be to mimic and to mock and to pervert the Last Supper. It's meant to be an attack on Christianity, an attack on Christ. It is a way for them to signal that the devil has won. Because that's what they believe. They believe that Satan has won. And why wouldn't they believe that, by the way? We have so many people right now, and by the way, I say this without any judgment because I was one of these people, who are running around not even realizing that we are fighting a spiritual battle, right? They've been so clever They have taken the Bible out of the school system. They have convinced the West that every fight is about good versus political evil, when in fact, as I've shown you guys in previous episodes, they're just bombing churches. Americans are just bombing churches in every war, while they tell us it's about something else. Oh, we're fighting this, but oops, we accidentally bombed the church. Why wouldn't they believe that they had won when they have made so many people commit themselves to the idea that they are atheists? Could you imagine just like the story of man here? Like, it just really, we have a creator, right? We have a Bible that tells us the story of exactly what happened. And then it takes some modern Satanists to come around and to convince you that actually you're from an ape. No, they're like, this is science. It's science, guys. You come from apes. You were an Australopithecus, and then you were like, oh, and then one day you started walking erect, Homo erectus. You started walking around, and now you can speak. And the chimps are still here, and you share a DNA with them. You come from monkeys, and there are people that believe that because trust the science, right? They polluted our bodies every single day. We understand this. We're literally being mass poisoned by the same government that is rinsing the population with this atheism, right? This atheist ideology, while convincing people to believe in themselves. You can be your own God. We're now at a point where science is instructing children that they can just choose their own sex. Yeah, talk about not.
Okay, speaking of ads, we do not support him. At least I don't.
In your own eyes, don't even believe your own body. What do you want? Science can make it happen. And still, people did not believe that we were fighting Satan. They did not believe that this was a devil. They just thought that these were just some human beings that were getting it wrong. Like, there's no huge plot. There's no huge conspiracy. You're a conspiracy theorist if you understand what it is that they are doing, right? The people that are speaking about this are routinely being condemned. And I understand why. I totally and completely understand why that is, because it takes a lot. It took a lot for me. I had to really commit myself to a long period of research to truly believe that it is plausible that this world is being run by a very small group of elite oligarchs who routinely practice homosexuality and pedophilia, and who believe in Baphomet as a deity, and who worship a transgender deity. That's a lot, actually. I'm saying it right now. It's like, wow, that sounds really crazy. But it's happening in front of you. And I'm showing you what these people actually believe. I'm pointing you to books that you can read to understand where and when and how this happened, to prove to you that these people have never been out of power, and that the elites have always practiced these sexual rituals. They've always believed in this. Throughout every modern society and ancient society, we had this battle going on. Now it's time for you to wake up. Okay, that is what I demand. It is time for you to wake up. So we will start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneux. Okay, look at this. Okay. That person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. Okay, let's just accept that. Take a second, take a sip of water. Oh my God, what is it going to say? It could be possible that like the entire state would be involved in protecting the secret. Yes, that is what I have been telling you. And at great cost to myself, obviously. You saw what happened. The entire mainstream media apparatus tried to cancel me for pointing to this fact. And of course, they had nothing to dispute the fact, other than to say that it was crazy. Thank you, very wise. Crazy, absurd, said Piers Morgan. You had to just imagine how I was feeling when Piers Morgan tweeted over the weekend after the Olympic ceremony, BTW, what the F was all this about? A drag queen mockery of the Last Supper at the Olympics? Would they have mocked any other religion like this? Appalling decision. That's what Piers Morgan tweeted. I tweeted right back at him. I said, so like, remember when I was telling you a couple of weeks ago that France's first lady was a dude in a bad wig? Yeah. Don't pretend to be appalled. Don't pretend that it's absurd. You are lying to the public. So here is a photo, by the way, just over the years, Jean-Michel Trogneux, as he became Brigitte. As I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. There's no evidence that Brigitte Macron lived for the first 30 years of his life. There's none, actually. It's actually stunning that in the absence of evidence,
that was a
the
great
entire
scripture.
mainstream
Thanks for
media
reminding us.
is still convincing part of the public.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, no worries. Look, we all work together. Thanks for reminding me that that's where to find that, because I was actually wondering where it said in the Bible about it. And you said Ephesians and the spiritual warfare chapter and what's going to happen and what we need to have on as far as the armor of God, if that's your belief. All those things can be found in Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 24. No worries. She's speaking truth on this. Yeah, see, it's two lies and a truth, right? So today she's speaking truth. And when she was talking about this months ago and got nailed to the cross for it, good thing she's Christian, and got nailed to the cross for it, everybody was like, oh my God, nah. So now after they deny, the next thing they're going to end up doing when they admit it is call her transphobic for calling it out. I don't know what's going to happen. Look, that's in. Okay. Teamwork makes the
that
dream
you do
work.
not have a trans person as the first lady of France. Okay. Not only that, by the way, let's go get that photo back up. Not only that, because this is what you need to see. I want to keep this up for a little bit. Not only did this little boy, Jean-Michel Tragno, that second photo, I believe they found a photo of him at a pride parade when he was just living as a homosexual man. That next photo is when the transition began, if I recall correctly, and that's a photo from the professor years. And the professor years of Brigitte Macron is when he statutorily raped Emmanuel Macron. Are those not the prerequisites, by the way? Like to becoming a leader of a world country, you got to like be in drama class, like Zelensky. You got to be a homosexual, like a lot of them tend to be. There are the new prerequisites that you need to have something in your closet like this, and the entire state is going to work feverishly to protect the secret being that you are trans. What do you think about the psychological games that are played when the entire public tries to tell you that for having two eyes and the ability to read, as I did, obviously, I read the 6-part series, the journalist who did this, who has never been sued. Nope. They're trying to lie to you to make you think the journalists are being sued for libel. Nope, it's not happening. His name is Xavier Poussard. When I read this series and I went, oh my gosh, there is so much evidence that this is a man. I'm so stunned. I'm going to just introduce it to the public so the entire public knows. And silly me still believed that there was some semblance of journalistic integrity out there and that they would embrace the story and impart their own investigations to it. And of course, none of that happened. Rather, they colluded like a cult to protect the state. And I say silly me, mostly because I've told you guys many, many times that Operation Mockingbird and the CIA, and these are not journalists, these people work to defend the state from being exposed. The state in and of itself is worshiping Satan. Like the real Satan, okay? It's not a fairy tale. The Bible is not a fairy tale. This is all real. You have a creator. Gosh, you know what, Skylar? Skylar's my producer. I wanted to send you a clip, and I'm actually going to text it to you because I want you guys to pull it live of a guy that was speaking about, I don't even know who it was. I just like flagged it on my Instagram, of a guy who was presumably a professor of some description, was speaking about how absurd it is that we live in a society where people come out with degrees and they know nothing. And when he says know nothing, as in they don't even know where they come from. There has been a great illusion that has descended upon humanity where you don't even recognize that spiritual forces are at play here. They are now throwing sexual rituals in broad daylight or on broadcast TV. And after they do it, and when they get caught and when they get called out, they say, oh, no, that's not what you think it was. You're being ridiculous. You're being hysterical. Wait until they start the homophobia, transphobia, dragophobia, not even a thing yet, but they're going to get there next. And essentially what's going to happen is the good people who know that this is wrong are going to be silent. Now, why is that? Why is it that, and by the way, I want you to be clear on this, there are so many people who know the truth, who have platforms and who don't say it. What is it that could tempt somebody who knows that pedophilia is taking place, who knows that statutory rape is taking place, who knows that sexual rituals are taking place amongst the elite? What could it be that would tempt those individuals who have a platform to stay quiet? I'll ask you a question. We're live. What would have to be offered to you for you to stay mum on the topic of pedophilia? Like if you knew there was a pedophile that was in a position of power, what would it take for you to stay quiet? You know, you're probably going, I would never. There's no way that I would say nothing. Well, maybe some of you are like me and you use your platform and you would actually say something, but the majority of people do not want to disrupt what they perceive to be their peace. They don't want to lose their money. They don't want to use their status. They don't want to.
Yeah, why did they make World Trans Day the same as Resurrection Day? Could that have something to do with what Candace is alluding to? Not sure.
Lose their place as a politician. They don't want to lose lobbying dollars. They don't want to be attacked by the media because we live amongst many nations of cowards. That is the reality. The men have become cowards. The majority, I would say, too many men, the ones that have not converted to becoming women, right, as a sacrifice to Baphomet, the deity that these elites worship, the rest of them are just, they're cowards. They're scared. Too many of them are cowards, okay? And so I do want to show you actually this clip because shockingly, there have been a lot of Muslims who are out there defending the Christian faith. And I want to show you this clip of Andrew Tate, who is Muslim and who makes a very good point as he approaches the public in protest. He approaches Christians. He says, I'm here in Romania. This is the most Christian country in the world. Why aren't you guys doing something about what just happened at the Olympics? Take a listen.
God.
And
this is what 5 pounds of body fat looks like. Want to lose this?
And you know, we don't even do Andrew Tate a lot. So let's see.
Guys,
I believe most of you are Christians. I'm a Muslim. Yes, this is Romania, supposed to be the most Christian country in Europe. You cannot allow them to desecrate something as important as the Last Supper with transsexuals and little children, pedophilia. There has to be a point you stand up for your beliefs. If you have something in life and you don't stand up for it, it will not last. If you have a house, you don't maintain it, it will fall down. Business, you don't work, it's gone. Relationship, you don't take care of her, she'll leave you. It's the same with religion. If you Christians don't start standing up, you don't say, this is a Christian country and we respect Christianity, they won't respect it either. It's the end. And it's the man's job. It's the job of men to defend things. This is what a man is supposed to do. It's man and woman for a reason, but the man is a fighter. The man has to stand up and fight against these things. Guys, this is supposed to be the most Christian country in Europe. When they try this crap again, I expect to see you all at the next embassy, wherever it is. Thank you.
Can you guys still see the video? Because I don't see the video. Yeah, look, it took the video off. It still shows me that I'm sharing in the studio. See, and now I just came here by myself, but I was in here by myself when he started talking. Did you see that? They're on me. They are on me. Ooh, you could hear it, but they took it down. Isn't that crazy? Let's see if I can get it back. Ooh. That's scary.
Guys.
And that is a wonderful clip, and he is correct. And Elon Musk essentially said the same thing in a tweet. He wrote, unless there is more bravery to stand up for what is fair and right, Christianity will perish. And that is because it is Christianity that has been under attack consistently by people who have used so many different various mechanisms to delude Christians into not standing up for their faith. It's remarkable. In fact, Christians are so deluded right now, people that perceive themselves to be Christians, that they will join in chorus attacking a Christian while they are standing up for Christianity. This is obviously notoriously the case. I couldn't believe, and I will admit this was a minority, but there was a minority of Christians with platforms who took the bait on saying that Christ is king could maybe sometimes be anti-Semitic. So they were willing to kind of just push us into this lane of like, well, now we even have to be careful of when and how and who we offend when we say Christ is king. Get out of here. You know what I hate? And I don't like to use the word hate. I really don't. But I genuinely hate cowards. I hate cowards, right? And especially when those cowards are men. Because there is something natural and there is something biological in which men are supposed to be the defenders and men are supposed to be the protectors. And we don't even see this in terms of faith anymore. We don't even see people professing their faith anymore. So I first want to give you a couple of facts about what happened on that stage, because you might be wondering, who did they decide should play Jesus Christ? In this drag show, mocking the Last Supper, saying, ha ha, Western world, Satan wins. He wins. Who did they say should play Satan? Were their tryouts? I don't know. Were there tryouts? Was it like curtain call? Did people line up in an auditorium and they say, give me your best Satan, but actually you're going to play Jesus Christ in drag, the Last Supper. If there be anything more meaningful that we could disrupt, we're going to do this. We're going to do this while the whole world is watching. We're going to get away with it because Satan, in their view, wins. He doesn't. That's the truth. He's not going to win. But this is an interesting concept. Who did they decide? Well, according to the Jewish Chronicle, it was a French DJ and a lesbian activist named Barbara Butch. Haha, so clever. Barbara Butch.
Have you seen anything like this at the...
Okay, so we'll let that play. I appreciate these comments. Most countries are secular. She's not wrong. But the previous videos froze. I'm sorry about that. I'm telling you, between solar flares, Mercury went retrograde, and the fact that they are currently interfering in information being disseminated among the people, some things are out of my control. But I appreciate you refreshing your thing. I had to refresh my own thing, girl. The conspiracy is real. We see you, but not now. No, larger, they intend to sue any critics. Well, hey, I'm not criticizing. I'm just sharing her criticizing.
Year-old and very proud. Butch told Attitude Magazine in 2023 about her background. You can see this, by the way, this headline here. It says, I'm fat, Jewish, queer, lesbian, and I'm really proud. And what we know about this individual's family is that members of her family were killed in the Holocaust. She says that she experienced anti-Semitism during childhood. She found acceptance, having dealt with anti-Semitism, through French Jewish Scouts, which she described as a safe space with poor and rich kids, where she learned to play the guitar and began to explore her sexuality. So her sexuality was a coping mechanism for her, okay? Who was the person who put this on, by the way? who was the person, the artist behind establishing this Antichrist theme, well, that credit or non-credit would be due to another homosexual named Thomas Jolly. Thomas Jolly, and this, we're getting very little on Thomas Jolly, I don't even know if that's really his last name, essentially grew up as a theater kid, as they all do. Like I said, Zelensky, Emmanuel Macron, they're all theater kids. He got to explore LGBTQ themes in his theater work. He lives with his boyfriend. His boyfriend's also named Thomas, and he just basically said that he's the son of a painter who just grew up in theater. Since high school, he's been in theater, and that he just wants to dedicate his professional career to just poking the bear, seeing what he can do, seeing how outrageous it can get, because obviously a large part of what they're doing is the Overton window, right? So they're just going to do the craziest things. They're going to allow people to be outraged, and then they're going to know it's been done. It's been done, and people will move toward this direction, right? And obviously, we also refer to this as the slippery slope, which has been proven so real that it is an absolute joke to hear any person suggest that it's a logical fallacy. Everything that has happened has been proven.
Are the ads going crazy on my feed, man? The
slippery slope is real. You know, conservatives who thought, well, maybe it's not real. Maybe if we pass gay marriage, that'll be it, and that argument will be over, have learned that no, what instantly happened was they just started tacking more letters on to the dyslexic equation, right? It's LGBTQIA, and of course, there will be more letters that are added because, like I said, these people are sinister. This is real. These people, and I am not referring to homosexuals or people that identify within this party, I am referring to the elites, okay? I am referring to a small group of oligarchs who are running the world, who worship Baphomet, okay? They believe in transgenderism. They believe in incest. They believe in pedophilia. They practice these things as sacraments. They have sexual rituals. I have showed you proof of that on this show. Now, in case someone that's just joining and you're going, that sounds insane, please do yourself a favor. Go back a few episodes where we covered the satanic origins of NASA, okay? Where we actually showed you, and you can look this up on your Wikipedia. Hey, join me now. Hit another tab. That's what I want you guys do. Hit another tab right now on your computer if you're at one, and look up Jack Parsons of NASA, okay? I mean, just on his Wikipedia, because this stuff is hiding in plain sight. Figure out what religion it was that he practiced. It was Aleister Crowley's religion, a man deemed the most wicked man in the world when he was alive. He established a religion known as Thelema. They practiced sexual rituals to summon demons. He was friends with the elites. He was friends, by the way, this is a fact, he got kicked out of Italy by Mussolini after he threw a satanic sexual ritual. Mussolini, you can look this up. Okay, go. I'll give you guys time. Go to Google right now. Google Aleister Crowley and Mussolini. And you will discover that this man who you remember vaguely as you're going, Mussolini, like the fascist one that was dragged in the streets after a war. Yeah, that Mussolini, okay, found out about this religion that was being practiced, learned that they had a sexual ritual, again, attempting to summon demons via egregious sex acts. Okay, Aleister Crowley was bisexual. They would have these nights of sex to summon demons. And on this one particular night in Italy, someone died. And Mussolini found out. He kicked Aleister Crowley out of the country. And you know what happened thereafter? He went to go stay at his friend's house. His friend's house in France. Of course, it's always in France. And who were his friends that were staying in France at that time? No other than Barbara Bush, Bush's parents. Yeah, that Barbara Bush, like a President George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush's wife, Barbara Bush, her parents allowed Aleister Crowley to stay at his house. Aleister Crowley was welcomed by the elites, okay? He was a friend of all the elites in America. He deemed Jack Parsons to be his protege in America. And Jack Parsons was participating in satanic rituals and satanic chants as they established the Apollo program. How are you feeling about the moon landing today? Those of you that are reading all these, Candace is crazy. Yeah, because I'm telling you the truth and I am showing you where you can go look for it. These are simple Google searches, okay? The elites like Satan. Now, I had Dave Smith on my show the other day. I know Dave Smith, he's wonderful, absolutely wonderful libertarian. I would say he's leading the libertarian movement. And he said to me, we were speaking about this, that episode will be released next week because I'll be away. And he said to me, it is something, when you look at how many times these sexual rituals have been exposed throughout history, that there are still people that don't realize, the people who are insisting that the population become atheist very clearly believe in God, okay? They're throwing rituals to counter God, okay? They are trying to bring the devil forward. In fact, Jack Parsons said that he did meet all these devil and satanic names out there along Arizona and California. Yeah, well, he said that he actually met the devil. And thereafter, the Apollo program was formed after he tried to use his sexual ritual magic, as Aleister Crowley referred to it as ritual magic, to summon a woman to become pregnant, okay? And he wanted to refer to that child as a moon child. And would you guys know that thereafter, we allegedly went to the moon? I don't know, guys. It's all feeling a bit weird that these satanic people have garnered so much control in our government, that these people who worship sex, these people that are part of a sex cult, who believe in Satan, and not just believe in, worship Satan. And yet you have people that are still asleep at the wheel who don't realize this. They're just like, no, I don't know. If it's not rational enough, I can't believe that there's a God. I can't believe it. But I believe in government. I believe in the people that believe in Satan. That's kind of what you're saying at this point. I just want you to know that. At this point, that is where we are at. Now, I do want to get to some of these responses to this. Bishop Barron actually did a really good job explaining exactly what was happening in this ceremony. So I do want to cut to a clip of that before I tell you what the Archbishop came out and said. Take a listen.
This is Bishop Barron. Just a few days ago, I was in Indianapolis for the marvelous celebration of the Eucharistic Congress, 50,000 Catholics coming together to worship the Lord and celebrate the real presence of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. So I come from that experience, and I come home, and I love the Olympics, so I turn on the opening ceremony of the Olympics. What do I...
Joanne, Barb is rumored to be Alistair's offspring, and after we just saw that picture of Alistair, if you put it up next to Barbara Bush, they look very similar. I just got goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps. That's one of my superpowers, is when I get goosebumps, I get activated, and then oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Waiting on the Lord to stop the evil, right?
And it's in Paris, France, a city I love.
Well, and that's what we were talking about, was it yesterday, about how faith is an action word. So we can't just wait on God. We have to do our part. Faith without works is dead. And our work is getting these motherfuckers up out of here and dismantling these systems that allowed to house these evilness for their rituals, that use our beautiful, positive, innocent energy and feed off of that to keep their maniacalism going. Mm-hmm.
Spent 3 years as a doctoral student there. What do I see but this gross mockery of the Last Supper? And I won't describe it any further. Just go online. It's gone viral. You didn't see it. But France felt evidently, as it's trying to put its best cultural foot forward, the right thing to do is to mock this very central moment in Christianity where Jesus, in his Last Supper, gives his body and blood in anticipation of the cross. And so it's presented, though, as this gross, sort of flippant mockery. France, which used to be called the eldest daughter of the church, Paris, that gave us Thomas Aquinas taught there, and Vincent de King Louis IX, St. Louis. France has sent Catholic missionaries all over the world. France, whose culture, and I mean the honoring of the individual and of human rights and of freedom, is grounded very much in Christianity, felt the right thing to do was to mock the Christian faith. A question I would pose, we all know the answer to it. Would they ever have dared mock Islam in a similar way? Would they ever have dreamed of mocking in this gross, public way, a scene from the Quran? As I say, we all know the answer to that. I think, folks, what's interesting here is this deeply secularist postmodern society knows who its enemy is. They're naming it, and we should believe them. They're telling us who they are. We should believe them. But furthermore, we Christians, we Catholics, should not be sheepish. We should resist. We should make our voices heard.
So I'm looking into the live chat right now, and I'm looking at some of your comments right here, and somebody said, oh, well, it's always the Jews. I actually want to respond to that. I'm going to tell you why you are correct, but you are also very wrong. Before we do that, I want to first thank the sponsors who have stood by me. You guys already know how much I love Preborn.
So that was really interesting what the rabbi said.
Supreme Court Justice,
the priest,
who openly worshipped this religion. Okay? So again, they've infiltrated religions. They have infiltrated. You stay quiet when we know the truth. We stay quiet and we allow these people to take over the world, which they are very close to doing. We pass this off to our children. Like Andrew said, it is going to take not just brave men, but it's also going to take brave women. And women, you know how to research, and I'm going to give all of you guys the tools to understand what is happening, okay? All of the faiths, Muslim, okay? If we're talking about Islam, we're talking about Judaism, we are talking about Christianity, have been in.
Okay, Sebastian came back. Look, let's get to these. Yeah, I cannot get into too many of these conspiracy theories. Only Yahshua. Thank you. Yahshua, that's the right name. Did you know there wasn't even any J's in the Bible for him to call him Jesus? And that's what I've been kind of like. I was like, oh, Well, maybe we're praying to the wrong thing, because if there wasn't even a J, then how was his name Jesus? I believe it was Yahshua, Yahuwah, Yahweh, something like that. I mean, there's so many different stories, but there definitely was not a J. If anything, Kanye has it right calling it Yeezus, because there was definitely a Y and not a J. Yeezus is closer to what it should probably actually be, and not Jesus, because there were no J's at that time. And that just makes logical sense to me. The reason that Candace is up on our screens right now, Sebastian, is because after we finished introducing all 7 candidates that are currently running for president, and that was Chase Oliver of the Libertarians, we had Donnie of the Repubs, we had Cornel West, who's an independent who used to be a green dude, and then we have RFK, real Robert Kennedy Jr., and his worm thing, and a alleged sex scandal on the way, and he used to be Democratic, now he's independent. And then we have Jill Stein, and she's definitely the Green Party, and she is excellent. And then we have Marianne Williamson, who's the Democratic Party. And then we have Kamala Harris, who's also the Democratic Party. And people are just being forced two cheeks. So after we finished that conversation and went over all of their promises, their key promises, and got to hear all their different POVs, I decided to segue over here into what Candace asked me to do yesterday. Now, I'm not in the habit of doing what everybody asked me to do, but I thought the interesting conversation she had yesterday was enough to really consider perhaps maybe we need to hear more of this conversation. Like I said, I only subscribe to some of what she says, and a lot of what she says could be 2 lies and a truth, or 2 truths and a lie, depending on who you ask. But today, I feel like she has a lot of stuff sprinkled in this here talk, and her observations about what her interpretation of the art that was the opening at the French Paris Olympics. Her interpretation of that is that it was anti-Christian. It was a mockery. It was anti-Christian. And she's showing us the reasons why, because she's not just talking about the problem. She's offering her the meat to why, the details of why it's a problem. So let's see. Yeah, our internet is wonky too, because
all of them. There is not one of them that has not been infiltrated by a satanic cult that practices pedophilia, okay, listen to me, as a religious sacrament. I am going to tell you what the name of this satanic cult is, so that you can now do your own research. Now, I will caution you that you cannot, with this particular name, trust Wikipedia as a source, because it's hiding in plain sight. But they have virtually wiped his name from the internet, despite the fact that he has garnered so much power that I'm going to show you that a Supreme Court justice who openly worshipped this religion, okay? So again, they've infiltrated religions. They have infiltrated all of them, okay? This ends when Jews and Muslims and Christians come together and root out the Satanists. His name was Jacob Frank, okay? That is what you are going to look up. His name was Jacob Frank. Now, his birth name was actually Jacob Ben Leibowitz, and he was born in modern Ukraine. You will find that a lot of these Frankists, because that's what they are, that's what they call themselves, are out of modern Ukraine. He was born in Podolia, and at that time, you would say that it was, you could also say Poland, Ukraine, the Polish Ukraine region is where the Frankist cult took off, okay? Now, his before him, there was a man named Sabbaty Zivai. It's called like Sabbatianism. You can look all of this up. I promise you on my locals page, I will provide you direct links so you can learn all of this, so that you know which links you need to read, what books you need to buy to learn the fact, an established fact, that these pedophiles are in power. Okay. Now, I learned about this quite accidentally, by the way. I didn't mean to learn about this. I was so shocked. I was coming apart when I learned that Sigmund Freud created psychoanalysis to protect pedophiles. I thought, how could this be?
Hi, Manuel.
How could Sigmund Freud do this? How could the world not be speaking about this? A guy who worked at the archives, learned German, read his notes, and discovered, this Harvard guy, that he was protecting pedophiles, that psychoanalysis was created as a means to convince rape victims who said, my dad raped me when I was a child, these women that were coming in to see him, that they were crazy. Gaslighting them. No, actually, you're just attracted to your dad. That is the origin story of Sigmund Freud. And I landed upon a book. I believe the book was written, and you can look this up, Sky. Was it David Bacon? I'm going to look this up, guys, so mind the typing here, because I want to make sure I give you this exact book, because I was interested in Freud. Let's see what this is called. think it is David Bacon. I think I got that right. Yes, it's called Sigmund Freud and the Jewish Mystical Tradition. Okay, David Bacon is, I'm pretty sure he is a historian. I think he worked at Columbia, but I'm going to look this up for you guys right here. Okay, he was a major influence in how the field of psychology implemented the use of statistics. Blah blah blah. He went to Brooklyn College. He went to Ohio State University. He taught at University of Chicago, Ohio State, Harvard, York University, and he got quite interested in the Jewish tradition and learned that psychoanalytic concepts actually derived from Kabbalah, okay? It is utterly absurd to suggest that the people who worship, who deem the Torah to be their holy book are all worshiping the Kabbalah, the Zohar. What he discovered in his work, right, and when you read that book, you will see this, was that Sigmund Freud was a Kabbalist, and he starts speaking at length about this great Jewish schism that happened when a bunch of Jewish people believed that Jacob Frank was their Messiah, until they realized, and actually Jews were the first one who expelled the Frankists. They said, get the heck out of here, what are you doing? After they had a sexual ritual, they were actually expelled from the region. They realized, what the heck is this? And at that moment, what the Frankists did was there was a mass conversion, because they taught this as a religious right. You have to deceive and you have to infiltrate. They converted into the Catholic faith, okay? Not all of them. Some of them converted into the Catholic faith, and you will see down the line as you study this that some of them converted back, and some of them went Christians, and that they encouraged over and over again for them to essentially deceive the world through mass conversions. Now, Jacob Frank had a daughter named Ava Frank, and let me tell you how disgusting this Frankist religion is. He had sex with her. It's incestuous, openly incestuous, of course, because this is what their sexual rituals were all about, and he deemed her essentially to be the unholy Mary. Now, how powerful was Jacob Frank? Well, the rumors, which I have not been able to find an actual fact on this, is that he was sponsored by the Rothschilds. Now, again, that's a rumor. What I can tell you is he definitely had a lot of money because he purchased a castle in Offenbach, Germany. Jacob Frank had a castle. Him and his daughter lived in this castle, and people that were Frankists came to them. They worshipped them. They made sacrifices to them, and of course, they had sexual rituals. This is all, I'm telling you, all of this stuff, it should be blowing your mind, and unbelievably, it's all true, okay? Now, to my French people wondering what the hell happened to your nation. Well, the French Revolution happened to your nation. How did that happen to your nation? Well, the Frankists, during this conversion, and you can look this up, one of the names that Jacob Frank went under, because they taught each other to continually keep changing your names, was a man named Moses de Bruschka. He was Jacob Frank's cousin. He was one of the leaders of the French Revolution. The Frankists went down to France, and they went to overthrow it in a revolution, because ultimately they believed that they would inherit the earth through deception, through deceptive means, and a ton of sexual rituals along the way, which they believed them power. Now, America, if you're thinking, okay, well, Candace, that may have happened in the 1700s, but there's no way that there are Frankists in America. I'm going to ask you something right now. Pivot your browser, open up your browser, and I want you to look up the first, and again, I'm doing air quotations here, Jewish Supreme Court Justice. The first Jewish, it's not Jewish, he doesn't worship the Torah. I'll tell you what he worships when you look up. His name is Louis Brandeis. You guys know him because you're thinking Brandeis University. I've heard of that. Well, it's a very powerful family. He had a Supreme Court justice named Louis Brandeis. And then as you scroll through his Wikipedia, you're going to learn that he kept a photo of Ava Frank on his desk, the unholy, the non-virgin Ava Frank, who from this castle had sexual rituals, incest with her father, who had people bringing her gifts, that the Brandeis family were committed Frankists. They believed in pedophilia. They believed in this as a sacrament, okay? They believed in blood rituals on holidays. They believed that you had to sacrifice people. All of this is in the books, okay? They believed people died in this castle. Blood ritual sacrifice. And this is not libelous, so you can spare me, this is blood libel. Because again, these people are no more Jews than they are Christians. There is an elite cabal. And the way that they have done this has been absolutely stunning, okay? It's amazing. They've done it through deception. They have convinced a bunch of well-meaning Jews that I grew up with, that you grew up with, the people that we know, of course, are not engaging on Passover in blood sacrifices and things of that nature. They have deluded them into protecting the Frankists when the Frankists get caught. Because they go, oh my God, look, they're saying that a Jewish person did this, anti-Semitism. And then well-meaning Jews who have nothing to do with the Frankists raise up and they protect these people who are pedophiles. What is the ADL? Who is Leo Frank? Leo Frank, why the ADL was established, is a person who on Passover murdered and raped a Catholic girl. He got caught, okay? He was found guilty despite having more money than God for that day, given who he was married to. He was found guilty because the evidence was that overwhelming, despite trying to pin it on a Black janitor who worked at the factory. It was his factory where he raped this 13-year-old girl. on Passover, as is required of Frankists, by the way. Again, we're talking about a fringe cult of psychopaths that have nothing to do other than hiding and deceiving people to believe that they're Jewish, or to believe that they're Christian, or to believe that they're Muslim, because they exist as well in the Muslim faith, okay? They have nothing to do with any of these religions. None of them. None of them. These are satanic psychopaths. And Leo Frank murdered that girl. He murdered that Catholic girl, as he was instructed to do, and he got caught. And then what happened? To this day, the ADL is trying to vindicate him. Despite overwhelming, they're trying to use their full power to pretend that that man, who had, again, more money than anyone could possibly have at that time, given who he was married to, and the family that he descended from, okay? A family which down his line married into the Rothschild family, by the way, to be clear, okay? You're going to tell me that this guy was unjustly found guilty? The girls, read through that case. That's a good starting point. If you're an American, read through the Leo Frank case. Learn everything that there is to know about it, okay? And you will realize he was guilty as sin. Guilty as sin, found guilty rightfully. And to this day, that little girl's family, what's left of her descendants, Mary Fagan's family, are still having to fight the full power of the ADL, who were born out of B'nai B'rith, okay? We're talking about Freemasons that established America and had a lot of power in this country. Again, I cannot state enough that what we are referring to is a religion that is known as Frankism, which became the Thelema religion. It is the preferred religion of the elites, okay? They believe and they worship the devil. They believe that through deception, they will inherit the earth, okay? In that region in Ukraine, which then began to be known as the Bohemian region, by the way, okay? Where Jacob Frank lived, where Jacob Frank's castle was thereafter. And then you wonder why Bohemian Grove is a thing in LA. Why Bohemian Grove? Again, they have also been caught having rituals. So I'm asking you the question, how many times are they going to get caught having rituals before all of the faiths wake up and unite and attack these Satanists? All right, guys, I'm gonna take a pause right here to thank another one of my sponsors, as I realize I am going off right now and I'm giving you
So that's a lot, right?
Not Jews or Muslims or Christians. This peace descended over me because I realized that everything they have done has been about disrupting Christ, about dividing the church. They have deluded people, and that is why it is so relevant for you to know that Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, basically, I learned that you could delude and trick people via psychology. That is why they love him. That is why he is taught as a hero, because he was a Frankist, okay? He worshipped, as that person points out in that book, which you should read, he worshipped the Kabbalah. And he gave them a gift in the form of understanding how weak our psyche is, right? That you could quite literally convince people not to believe their own eyes. Modern society was born because of that. And then you realize, again, speaking about how they were always in positions of power, that Edward Bernays, his nephew, became the father of propaganda in America. The guy who credits himself with convincing Americans to eat breakfast. It wasn't even, they weren't even eating breakfast, convincing Americans to eat breakfast. All you needed is the right propaganda campaign, and you can convince Americans to do anything, including to murder Christians all around the world. Because that is what is happening, whether you are aware of it or not. Christians are being slaughtered all around the world. That is what you have to recognize. It has been a war against Christianity since the beginning of time, okay? This is about countering Christ. They intentionally, if you are sitting with me, you're watching this today and you are saying, no, I think I'm an atheist, then the psychology worked on you. It worked on you. Frankist psychology worked on you. You have been deluded to believe that there is nothing more than this, and that makes you a perfect victim. Because once you realize that there is more, that God is real, and that Satan is upon us right now on this earth, there is a tremendous relief that comes. And I feel relieved every single day. Because there was always a part of me, despite the fact that I was a Christian, that like, a little quiet voice that's like, gosh, but like, what if it's not real, right? And now I'm like, this is so real. That little quiet voice inside of me that even suspected that came from a concerted effort from devil worshippers to remove Christ from the classroom, to remove him from the home, to break down the family, to create Hollywood as a model of Babylon, right? Hollywood is evil and satanic for a reason. The Frankists established Hollywood because they knew how it would impact the American psyche, how it would impact the Western psyche. But here's the thing, in the end, Christ always wins. It's refreshing, it's beautiful. You see it, you feel it right now. There's a piece of you right now, even if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, you have been feeling something lately. We all have been feeling something lately. You speak to the average person, you're like, you feel that something is really, really wrong, okay? And that is the beginning. That is the beginning of your journey to understanding that there is also something really, really right. And that something is Jesus Christ. It is the Holy Spirit that everybody is experiencing.
So let's get at these comments while that finishes. She said everything was covered in skin, like lamps. Yes, it was.
Know that as dangerous as the information is that I'm giving to you, as it is a danger to me, it is a danger to my family. I know that the only reason that God gave me this platform is because everything must be exposed. Every Frankist in this country must be exposed. The media is protecting them because they established the media, okay? So it's a very simple litmus test. Who are the people in the media who told you that, no, there's no way that Brigitte Macron is a man, despite overwhelming evidence? They insisted on it being crazy. Who are the people that are trying to work overtime to tell you that Leo Frank is not a pedophile and a murderer, okay? The ADL was established by Frankists, Leo Frank, for a reason. These are the people who you need to stay away with. It's a battle for your soul, but it is a battle. I'm telling you guys that we are going to win. And I'm going to jump into some of your questions here, but I want to thank finally my friends at American Financing. They do such amazing work as well, especially given today's economic environment. Everyone is feeling stressed out for a lot of reasons, not only because everything is satanic, but also because economically it's just been an overwhelming time. The expenses people are putting on their credit cards elevates the stress. You have to find a way out of that never-ending cycle, and the answer is to call my friends at American Financing. They're helping people just like you turn things around by using the equity in their homes to pay off that high-interest debt. They understand what you are going through. They talk to people in your position every day. American Financing is saving their borrowers an average of $854 a month. $800 a month is like a $10,000 raise at work, and they are closing some in as little as 10 days. And if you start today, you may not even have to make next month's mortgage payment. So there is no better time than right now to turn around your situation. Call my friends at American Financing. The number is 800-795-1210. That's 800-795-1210. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net. Again.
She's almost done, you guys. So let's see.
I ordered a 3-month survival.
Let's look back at here. So you know how I'm always talking over here on LRGA Curves about it's like some kind of freaking thing where you look around for the nearest Black person and blame them. Shit's been going on since forever. Leo Frank killed that girl and looked around for the nearest Black person and had this Black man on trial for that shit. Right now, they are holding some kind of investigation in Israel because Palestinian women, men, and children have been getting raped. And they're arguing right now for the right to rape men, women, and children while they're prisoners of what's real. And when this happened to Leo Frank back in the day, they tried to break him out of jail to protect his right to be a graper and a pedophile, you guys. And it's happening again today in 2024.
The book is entitled A Journey to the Heart of the Catholic Faith. In one of the early pages, Bishop Barron said that the origins of the word the devil, diavolo, it means to divide, to separate. Anything that is not whole necessarily becomes devilish. Whether that's the family, whether that's the church, think about that. To divide things.
Oh, I got a replacement thing for outside, so we need to let that other one dry out so I can send it back within 30 days, and they replaced it.
And with just the H. And I've recognized that, and I've seen that everywhere. And I can't think of any greater division than to now to encourage people to divide who they are. You can divide your sex. You can be everything. I genuinely feel sadness for the people that have been victimized by this, who don't realize they're fighting a spiritual battle, who don't realize that they have been intentionally hypnotized by Satanists, that these people are throwing rituals, sex rituals. In some circumstances, there have been murder rituals. Read that book that I've been telling you to read about Charles Manson, the CIA, and the MK Ultra program, which I believe was established by Frankists, right? And you will recognize that these people have been doing this forever because they know that God is real. They understand. Aleister Crowley practiced magic, and part of the magic of the devil is convincing people that he doesn't exist. That's the greatest trick that the devil ever played. That was the greatest magic trick, convincing people that he doesn't exist. It's time to wake up, guys. It's time to wake up. I'm going to get into some of your comments. Tyler, are you dropping some in the doc here?
Okay, so that was what she was saying, you guys, and I'm sorry if I scared you with, even referring to her. But these people were fighting to arrest this black man for what the white guy did to that little girl, Mary Fagan, even though it was part of his sex ritual as being a Frankist. Let's see. So you guys do your own research. Go do your own research, please. Please. Look, he went to Cornell University. Interesting. I wonder who Cornell. Oh, here's the Benai Birth. So is a nonprofit Jewish service organization, formerly German Jewish Cultural Association, states that it's committed to the security and continuity of the Jewish people and the state of Israel. Can I scroll? Oh, there it is. And the state of Israel and combating anti-Semitism. I want to know where the organizations that have been around since 1619 to combat anti-Blackness are. Where are those? I need those. I don't know. But the German-speaking founders originally named it the Bundesbro, German for Brothers of the Covenant. I wonder what that covenant was. But yeah, interesting. You guys do your research. I mean, this is a whole other level 8 rabbit hole that we can go into over here. But she's saying that it's all associated, and even Wikipedia acknowledges the associations between all of these organizations, okay? These occultist organizations, okay? Let's get at these comments before we tap out. I always have an issue when people act like the devil is as powerful as God. That does not make sense. Exactly. Hey, be in this world, but not of it. I think that they are working to legalize pedophilia. They are in so many states. They're lowering the age to get married. They're turning around rights that women can have if they're raped. And they literally are trying to make legal all of the atrocities that are put on people. And they're just trying to, that pretty soon rape is going to be legal, pedophilia, incest. Yeah, let's just go back. Sebastian, yeah, tell people where you are. It's a 2-part message. She said everything was covered in the skin lamps. Yep. She couldn't sleep at all. They left early hours and headed to Zurich, right? People believe, look, don't believe your eyes. People believe Kamala is black. Don't believe your eyes, because we're telling you she is, no matter what you believe, right? My mother was so scared of the Bavaria that Halloween, she made my brother sleep in my parents' room because she was scared the locals were going to abduct him and sacrifice him. Exactly. It's true. And in that era, women were worth nothing. It's amazing anything got done at all. Yeah. I'm going to start squeezing in, listening to Candace, what's happening. Yeah, I know, right? Right? It takes a lot of courage to share that message. Their God is money and power, I believe. And the more deceiving they can do for the regular schmegular people and make us not believe our eyes. That's the same shit the housewives be wanting us to do. They want us to not believe our eyes, not believe our ears, and only believe what they tell me the storyline is. Look, you could kick rocks with that. I have a mind in here. You hear it rattling around? Those are my brain cells, bitch. And I get to use them how I want to. You're not going to censor me or make me think what you want me to think. Okay? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You hear them rolling around? Oh, that's where they got the word Freudian slip comes from. Exactly, Emmanuel. Also, Buddhism is based on a lot of modern psychology, right? So true. I remember learning about Sigmund Freud in AP. Yeah, and everything is reduced to you want to sleep with your mother and you want to sleep with your father. Sounds pedophilic, and incestuous to me. If everything is reduced to you want to have sex with your mother and father and little kids and and old people, that's some weird shit. Some weird shit. One thing to be a Christian, another to go out of your way to mock the Christian people. That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody was in the room that thought, oh, this kind of looks like the Last Supper. And there's a lot of people that live in this country and around the world that might think that this looks like the Last Supper. It's just like how you have to have a Black person in the room so that you can know not to send the tweet out that said that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jacob Frank screenshotting for later. Yes, exactly. So we went over Louis Brandeis, and that's Brandeis University, got named after this well-known Frankist. Let's see, did I have another one? And then we had the Benai birth, and then we have Leo Frank, and then Jacob Frank. Okay, all the way back to 1776, okay? Religion, Judaism, Offenbach, Maine, Principality, name of 2 German historical states, Holy Roman Empire, known as the Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. Oh, look, that freaking bird looks familiar. I don't know. And then we had, yeah, I tell you, yesterday when I saw this in real time yesterday, I was like, Google bookmark, because the rabbit hole is deep on this. So anyway, you guys, let's see. Let's stop sharing this information from this today. And I'm so pleased that you guys got to come and play with me here on LRGA Curves. Make sure you smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. On your way in or out, make sure you ring my bell. Ring my bell so you can get notified when I go live. Okay? Because I don't get to always post that I'm about to do it. And if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Thanks for being in the comments today. I appreciate all your energy, all your comments. You kept this chat lit. Mademoiselle, Callie, Nola, Sarah, Joanne, Sebastian, Emmanuel. Who else came through? Is that all that commented? Bianca was here. And I think that's it. Anybody I missed, I'm sorry. You know I love you. Yeah. Okay, you guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for coming. Smash the buttons. Do your own research. Do your due diligence. Don't let these people keep telling you what your eyeballs see. Don't keep letting them tell you that Rodney King was resisting arrest. Don't keep letting them tell you that what you see happening in Palestine isn't what you say it is. Don't keep letting them tell you that it's okay for Ukraine to get the money and be bombed to hell, but it's not okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep letting them tell you that it's what your eyes don't believe you. Did you know that intuition is the God in you? Did you know that? And that's when that deep voice inside tells you that that's what's happening. That's what is happening. And that's not for anybody else to tell you other than that. Okay? All I know is we have to be love, see love, taste love, and smell love. But we have to do it once we get to a loving environment. And until we're all the way to the loving environment, I'm in love talking about the truth and how to get there. Okay? And I really appreciate knowing about all 7 candidates. And I really appreciate knowing about what these foundations are and how these systems actually got into place that we are currently trying to dismantle and come out with something new. Okay? Anyway, you guys, thanks for being here. And they fully knew what they were doing and the repercussions, Olympic opening ceremony. Yeah, I'm like, what are they really doing? They have so many people's panties in a bunch. Like, what are they doing right now to that group of people that is more stabbing them in the back, right? Yeah, it was the pass on Candace. It's interesting to hear how some people think. Yeah. In 30 years, they were rationalized bestiality. Oh my God, poor pigs. I always have an issue when they say people act like the devil is a powerful. Oh yeah, we already said that. Okay, yeah, you guys are very welcome. I'll see you in the next video. And remember what I always say, there's enough to go around, so go get some.